And Corey Seager. Seager having a big day yesterday. 3 for 4 with a couple of runs batted in.
Well, they got to get Justin Turner going. He's their best postseason hitter, and he's off to a slow start. And getting him going would bode well for their offense.
So switch as the Dodgers play the role of visitors today in Arlington. And what a spotlight on 21-year-old rookie left-hander Adrian Morejon. A 2-2 record in his first real season in the big leagues. Had a taste last year. Last appeared in Game 3 of the Wild Card Series on Friday and threw 25 pitches. It is a bright spotlight on him with the Padres facing elimination tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. He started off fast. He struggled the last 4 or so appearances coming into it. And the good news, bad news is this is a home game for the Padres, but considered to be on the road. So he pitched much better on the road than he did. So is he confused? Is he on the road or is he at home? Well, they're going to hope that he pitches like he's on the road.
Yeah, I'm confused about home road splits in these neutral site postseason games. But as you see the mix on Morejon, note the off speed. It's hard to define what he uses as an off speed pitch because various sources call it different things. He throws a knuckleball. It's a knuckle changeup, and Padres color analyst Mark Grant has deemed it a chuckle. So we'll go with that. The off speed is a chuckle ball, and we'll see how often we see that first time through the lineup because we might not be seeing him for much more than that. Underway in Game 3.
Well, you're going to see a fastball that touches 95 and above, straight over the top. We showed you the different secondary pitches he's thrown, and he has not really thrown a game more than 40 pitches to Matt's point.
A ball and a strike to count to Mookie Betts, a 4-time All-Star, 3 for 9 in this series, and enjoying the best offensive postseason of any Dodger, 6 for 17 dating back to the wild card round. 2 balls and a strike to Betts. Yeah, Morejon is an interesting candidate to start in an elimination game for sure. Not a whole lot of experience as we've documented. Signed as an amateur free agent out of Cuba, and was awarded the largest international amateur contract in franchise history when he came stateside. 2-2.
Well, there's a lot to like. Smooth mechanics, and that's one thing I always look for in a young pitcher. Can he repeat his mechanics? And he's got the secondary stuff to go along with that 95+ mile-an-hour fastball. Throws a little across his body, but he's got electric stuff.
Still 2 balls and two balls and 2 strikes rather to Mookie Betts.
I think the future for him kind of positions him as a starting pitcher. That's what it would forecast for. And right now, he's technically a starting pitcher, but they're going to need the Padres a lot of pitchers to pitch well to navigate through this very stingy Dodger lineup.
2-2 to Betts is served on a hop out to Tatis, shortstop, and that's how the night begins, 1 away. Well, certainly Padre fans are painfully aware of the lack of starting pitching depth due to injury. Dinelson Lamet not available. Mike Clevenger gave it the old college try, and he landed back on off the roster status. So for Jace Tingler, it has been kind of a scramble to piece together starts in this National League Division Series. 1 gone now for Corey Seager. Seager's had a good series.
The Dodgers are stacked with left-handers, so they don't anticipate this young man to be in there very long. But he kind of has reverse splits, too, against lefties and righties. A little better success with his off-speed against right-handers than left-handers.
Ball and a strike to count to Corey Seager. 4 for 14 with 4 RBIs in the postseason so far. Dodgers looking to keep a perfect postseason record going and charge all the way into an LCS. A swing and a miss.
That young man throws the fastball above the zone and then follows it with a breaking ball against left-handers. That's going to be tough to lay off the 2 quadrants that he could throw this pitch in.
And Seager bounces it out to second. Cronenworth up with it, and there are 2 gone. You know, the Padres are well aware of the enormity of this task, trying to win 3 in a row against anybody, let alone the LA Dodgers, who, by the way, were the only team in baseball this year who didn't lose 3 straight games.
Yeah. Well, it started with last night, the 9th inning. If I were a teammate on the Padres, what I would carry over into today's game is literally 1 pitch at a time from the pitchers, 1 pitch at bats. Take everything like it's a 9th inning approach and try to grind out a win.
Justin Turner now. Turner just 1 for 14 in this postseason. And sitting on 63 career postseason hits, which ties him with the great Steve Garvey atop the all-time Dodger franchise leaderboard.
And the 1 hit he had in this series was a big one. He went the other way in a wide open shift and played him over, but he hasn't had the timing that you would consider the postseason best hitter for the Dodgers.
Ball and 2 strikes to Justin Turner.
You know, Matt, when you look at the collective numbers, they don't look really good career-wise for the Dodgers as a whole. But what they do in their depth is they get enough guys hot at the right time to carry. Like, no one's hitting 300 career in their postseason run. But they take their walks. They grind you to death as a pitcher.
Ball's outside.
Well, walks were one of the themes in Game 1 of this series for sure. A lot of free passes in Game 1 on Tuesday. It's been kind of one of the defining stories of the entire postseason, as a matter of fact. It was a 19-walk wild card series game between the Yankees and the Indians last week. And by the way, the Yankees lead in the bottom of the 6th inning 2-1 over the Rays in their Game 4 in San Diego. They too try to stave off elimination. Still 2-2 to Justin Turner.
One thing to look for, if you haven't followed the Dodgers all year, one of their rallying kind of cries, if you will, is barrels are overrated, meaning just get hits. You don't have to barrel everything up. And if you see a guy get a hit tonight, watch the dugout.
And 3 ground ball outs open Adrian Morejon's first career postseason start. Padres Geico starting lineup for Game 3. Grisham, Tatis, and Machado off the top. Manny had a homer yesterday. It's been kind of a slow postseason for Manny Machado, just 3 for 22, but there are thoughts that the homer yesterday will get a very important bat going for San Diego from this point forward. It's Dustin May to make the start for the LA Dodgers tonight. 23-year-old right-hander from nearby Justin, Texas, about 30 miles away from where we are currently. A little town of about 4,000 folks. The pride and joy of Justin, and one of the hardest throwers on the major league landscape.
Yeah, you talk about a pretty delivery. He gets that leg down in a good spot and then drives off that front leg and lets it fly. And this guy, again, for me, is a guy that should be pitching 6 and 7 innings every 5th day, but they have used him in many different weapons and leverage situations. Of course, he pitched in Game 1. Don't expect him to pitch more than 3 innings tonight.
Sinking fastball is his favorite weapon, and he throws it hard. His average fastball velocity at just over 98 miles an hour is second only to 2-time Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom this year. 2 balls and a strike to Trent Grisham to open the home first. 2-2 now. Grisham 2 for 18 so far this postseason. Had a 1 for 3 night in Game 2 here yesterday. And a swing and a miss. A strikeout opens the bottom of the first for Dustin May. The Dodgers as a staff do such a masterful job at getting ahead in counts early. They have thrown their starters, that is, at least 2 strikes in the first 3 pitches to a league best 69% of opposing batters this year. Here's Tatis with 1 gone. And he started with strike one.
Well, it's much easier to impose your will. I mean, let's not forget they got great stuff, but to be able to command that stuff is absolutely a weapon. And to Tatis, who's trying to establish that that's not a strike because he can't afford that to be down there, when he gets behind an account or 2 strikes, he has not had much success.
He's behind 0-2, and I believe I heard home plate umpire Bill Miller tell him that that was right down the pipe, that first strike.
Yeah, it was a little bit low, but that's what a hitter wants to know early on. And of course, pitcher-catcher situation is going to determine what they can steal early as well. When we watch this pitch, that ball's down just below the zone.
Yeah, I don't have that right down the pipe. Called a strike, however, and now it's 1-2.
Thank you.
So what that does for a hitter and what it does for a pitcher are 2 different things. The pitcher wants his eyes down there constantly, so that brings the breaking ball as a weapon bigger than it should have been based on what the hitter now recognizes the strike zone of the umpire is. 0-86 behind in the count, Tatis on the year.
Behind in this count, a ball and 2 strikes from Dustin May. Held on to it a little long at 101. It is Bill Miller behind the plate, as we mentioned, in his 22nd season, as is Doug Eddings and Alfonso Marquez. 6-man umpiring crew, as we know, in the postseason, with 2 officials down the lines. May's 2-2. Missed again at 101. This one just missed. Dustin May, by the way, pitched in game 1 of this series on Tuesday night. 2 scoreless innings, did not allow a hit or a walk, struck out 3, 27 pitches, and told folks afterwards it was equivalent to a side session. A little bit more on the line in a postseason game.
Here's what I would say early on. If that was the side session and he throws 100 in the side session, then I'd give him credit for it. There's a lot more going into it. I would say the same thing, by the way. I'd say, that's my side session equivalent. No, not so fast. He's already shown, if you're a Padres hitter right now, you got to understand that he's pulling the sinker. So if he's pulling the sinker, the easiest pitch for him to get should be inside to a right-hander. And right there, he let Tatis get off the hook. He could have spun a breaking ball and didn't. He went back to the 2-seamers and missed wildly on the last 3 pitches.
So now Manny Machado, who again homered yesterday in game 2, just his 3rd hit of the postseason. It's Manny's night, as many nights for the superstar third baseman. Did not come without a little bit of controversy. Tatis runs on the first pitch. Smith throw down to second base, and Tatis comes off the bag. He's out trying to steal second. Had that throw beat, and if he'd been able to stay anchored on the bag, he would have had an easy stolen base.
Well, you hear players say all the time, going in head first,
well,
you may get there faster. It's harder to grab that bag, especially when you got the oven mitt on to protect your hand, right? And he goes in, and you can see the momentum takes him off the bag. No way to really grab that bag. And
ball's inside.
Now the RBI opportunity is gone for Manny Machado. Good low ball hitter. This is a matchup. If he gets that low fastball, you could see a gap or a ball up in the air out of Matty.
2 balls and a strike to Machado. Season 2 in San Diego, a good one, as he just misses getting hit. 3 balls and a strike. Hit a career low 256 last year, his inaugural run in America's finest city. Responded this year with a 304 average. Hard to believe it, but it was the first time he'd ever finished a season with a 300 or better batting average. Machado sends the ball out to center field. Bellinger measuring it off. Nothing comes to the 1-out walk. We played an inning in Arlington. Scoreless in game 3. To the night and the middle of the LA order against Adrian Morejon, Max Muncy, Will Smith, and Cody Bellinger in the Dodgers' second.
No, ball's inside.
Well, Max Muncy, encouraging signs for the Dodgers. Looks like he's getting a little bit better and comfortable, has had rough luck during the season. You see the regular season numbers, just couldn't buy a hit. The overall numbers from the last couple of years to this year is down, but he's still a guy whose approach Dave Roberts likes, and tracking the ball, doesn't expand the zone very much, and getting some success of late.
One of a handful of Texas natives on this Dodger roster. Yeah, weird year for Max at 192. Still hit for power, still took his walks. And it was a year that began with a lot of optimism. The co-hitting coaches of the Dodgers, Brent Brown and Robert Van Scoyoc, they actually visited Max here in Texas over the winter and did a lot of work with him. 3-1. I talked to Brent beginning of the season, and he said about his relationship with another hitting coach, we're not Batman and Robin, we're not 1 and 1A, we're Batman and Batman. We both do the same amount of work.
Ball's up.
And there's ball 4 to Muncy. First Dodger base runner of the game.
And even when a guy like that is struggling, he doesn't chase the zone and expand the zone. That's what they get. They get a lot of walks. I mean, 10 walks through the first 5 innings, I believe, in game 1. Hadn't recorded a hit and just got their first ground ball and were able to win that game. And that's what the Dodgers can do to you. So the pitchers that face the Dodgers know that they're going to be very disciplined. They're hard to strike out, and you're going to have to be on your game.
Here's Will Smith, who is hitless in this series, and according to Dave Roberts, due tonight.
Yeah, he's hit a lot of balls hard and hasn't gotten the results that you would think. He's hit some balls right at people. It'll start getting super frustrating because guys don't want to keep hearing, hey, great at bat, hang with him, great at bat, you know, that a boy. No, they want to get one that bleeds in or bloops in.
Way to swing it, Tino. Those will fall.
Yeah, it gets old quick, especially in the postseason. But he's definitely trending in the squaring up the ball portion. Okay.
So far, so good this postseason for the Dodger catching core. Muncy aboard to start the inning, and a ball that misses down and in. It's a ball and 2 strikes now to Will Smith. Adam Kolarek is up rather early in the LA bullpen. Dave Roberts sharing with us that there will be plenty of left-handed relief options available in game 3 of this series tonight, including Kolarek, including Julio Urias. Ball and 2 strikes to Will Smith. And that's a fair ball into the corner. Muncy on his way to third. Smith to second. And here come the Dodgers in the 2nd inning.
You can see the smile on his face, or at least the one he wants to go. Finally checked into the postseason, hit one right down the line and got rewarded. 2 strikes, and he gets a breaking ball inner half and just pulls it down the line and beats out one of the best in the game in Manny Machado. Nothing he could do there. And right away the Dodgers looking to put a crooked number.
2nd and 3rd, nobody out now for Cody Bellinger, who was one of the heroes for sure in last night's Dodger triumph. And it's a moment that Dodger fans are still reveling in. Quite the opposite down south in San Diego. But to hit a homer and then take one back with a magnificent defensive effort late in the game is the kind of postseason night that any kid would dream of. And it's 0-2 to the still reigning NL MVP. Let's take you back to last night.
Yeah, this is unbelievable. Look at the route. This is a big yard. He had to turn himself and get him in a position as a left-hander to get up. He got way up. This is not one of those wall scrapers. This ball was well over the fence. And as far as I'm concerned, having seen that live, I was in awe of that catch.
Bellinger taps that to second. Cronenworth's going to go to third, and the Padres get the out there. Muncy's able to score, but Cronenworth cutting down the middleman and perhaps stemming the tide on what could have been an even bigger moment.
I'm telling you right now, that's a gutsy play when you're up against elimination. This could have been a huge inning if he doesn't make the perfect throw. And he kind of changes his mind right about here. Right, he hears the 3-3-3 and throws over to third. And Matty makes the tag. Right, he's going to first and turns and pivots. And Matty makes one of those easy tags and then looks to see where Bellinger is. I was a little surprised they didn't have the right side of the infield in this type of game, but they gave up the run and kept the big inning from possibly happening.
Here's A.J. Pollock now. 1 for 6 so far in the series. Boy, the Padres love Cronenworth. And when you think about how San Diego has cooked up a very good roster for 2020 and beyond, you go to some of the deals that A.J. Preller pulled the trigger on. And getting Jake Cronenworth with Tommy Pham in December in a 5-player swap, one of the building blocks to a very good season. Former two-way guy, closer at Michigan, first baseman there. There's AJ with his kind of mad scientist touch. He has become the consummate wheeler dealer GM in baseball.
Oh, that hit him!
And that hit
First
him,
base.
as you could hear Bill Miller tell you himself. First and second now with a run in and 1 away.
Well, I thought, we didn't have time to talk about Bellinger's at bat. He was down 2 strikes and he put the ball in play. And that's what the Dodgers do about as best as anybody. With runners in scoring position, they don't strike out. It's one of the traits of a team that has allowed themselves to have success.
I would have been so mad at you if you did that to me.
Well, it's going to be up to Jock Peterson now. And there were some that were surprised, John, to see Jock Peterson's name in the lineup against a left-handed starter. But it told a lot of us that Dave Roberts didn't really expect Morejon to be around for more than 1 at-bat against Jock, because Peterson, as fans are well aware of, does most of his big damage against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, that he does. And the power numbers, he'll still hit a fastball off a left-hander, but that's about it. Everything else is under 100 almost. Off-speed pitches, not real good against left-handers.
Goes down. I'll see it, please.
7 career postseason homers. Not afraid of velocity. Matter of fact, 18 home runs on pitches 95 and above since the start of last season. That tops in baseball.
A fan favorite who really has quite a flair for the dramatic. Such a big 2017 World Series, 3 homers against the Astros as he takes a fastball for a strike.
A lot of unorthodox type swings, but he finds a way, at least in the postseason, to come up with some of those big hits. He's coming off the bench trying to do one thing. It's hack. I mean, he will swing and he will fall off almost like he's got roller skates on, but he's just trying to do one thing: launch it.
1-1 to Peterson. A ball and 2 strikes.
Good example of just this let it rip type, walk it off batting style.
Chris Taylor on deck for Los Angeles. Runners at first and second with a run in and 1 away. There goes Bellinger. Both runners put in motion there on that pitch, and it's 1-2 to Peterson. Dave Roberts told us before the game, we asked him about the double steal yesterday, and it kind of had us wondering, players that have the green light during the regular season, is that still on in the postseason? And Dave made it clear that that double steal yesterday was by design, and that runner in motion play came from the dugout as well.
Part of it has to do with how far.
Peterson's rung up. 2 gone. We remind you to download the new Rally app presented by BetMGM, where you can make live predictions on every at-bat in tonight's game for a chance to win up to $2,000. Go to MLB.com/rally to play along with today's Padres-Dodgers game.
I was going to say, part of the strategy tonight on the double steal is how far Machado was away from the bag. So he's got to get to the bag, get a throw on the run. So that was a good opportunity for the Dodgers there to put 2 runners in scoring position.
So now Chris Taylor with 2 out and 2 on. 0-1 to Taylor, who is looking for his first hit of the series, and he's another Dodger that Dave Roberts believes is coming closer to breaking out. For whatever reason, John, those are weird splits.
Yeah.
Second inning's been the problem for the rookie left-hander.
Ball's inside.
1-1. Boy, a real challenge for the Padres' first-year pitching coach Larry Rothschild. Of course, a lifetime's worth of experience as a manager, longtime Yankees pitching coach, but the challenge is this year trying to cobble together innings without your top 2 starters.
Yeah, that part's a shame for the Padres. Just the timing of it all. This was a mammoth series that they were looking forward to go heavyweight battle against the Dodgers, toe-to-toe with their starters. They just haven't been able to do it so far.
2 balls and a strike.
There's been already, and that's what can happen in a best-of-5. It can go by like in a flash. There could be a twist and a turn and change the series. But you look back and you say, oh, man, they had their opportunities to change the direction of this series with the bases loaded, no run out, 3-0 count against Buehler, who was having a hard time commanding the baseball, and he got out of it. And then last night in the 9th, after battling 2 epic at-bats, 11 pitch at bat, and worked some walks, they were a hit away from potentially spinning turning this into an incredible series. So it may go down, they may not win this game, and it may look like the Dodgers had their way with them, but quite the contrary.
Yeah. Closer than the final box scores would indicate. 2 balls and 2 strikes, the count to Taylor.
No, he didn't.
Dodgers a very good situational hitting team. I mean, the Dodgers are a very good hitting team, period. Led the league in homers along with a number of other pertinent categories. They also led baseball with a major league best .339 slugging percentage and 2 strike counts. .339 might not sound like a lot, but it was good enough to lead the league.
And they just don't swing and miss with runners in scoring position. They were the best team. They swung and missed the least amount. So that is a tribute to their whole organizational philosophy.
Taylor swings and misses. 2 big strikeouts for the rookie southpaw stranded pair. LA had 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. NLDS on MLB Network, presented by Geico, with Hall of Famer John Smoltz and JP Morosi. Matt Vasgersian, a scoreless tie early and already a pitching change. As we set you for the bottom half of the second, left-hander Adam Kolarek will make his 2020 postseason debut. 31-year-old southpaw got into 3 games in last year's National League Division Series loss against the Nationals, but until tonight had been on ice in this postseason. Very good numbers during the regular season this year.
This guy's nasty, and he's tough on left-handers. You can see this delivery. Kind of a slingshot. Dodgers bullpen is deep. They may have some guys struggling at the moment, but it's still deep.
You surprised that we didn't see Dustin May for more than an inning tonight?
Well, look to me in the first inning he was off.
And there's a base hit for Eric Hosmer.
And one of the things they might have been looking at, rather than force feed another inning, get him a reset. Potentially you could use him, for sure in game 5 if it goes there, maybe in game 4. But when you're missing with your 2-seamer by a foot and 3 consecutive pitches, you might not be locked in, and that could be a reason why they decided to just switch it up. Looked like 2 innings was all it was going to go anyways.
A lot of real estate the other way for Hosmer, and he's got a leadoff base hit. Again, the Padres were hopeful that the homers yesterday by Machado and Hosmer would get them going, because before those homers, That duo was 4 for 38 in this postseason. So the leadoff hitter aboard now for Tommy Pham, who had a couple of hits in the loss yesterday.
Tony Pham can actually get the ball the other way. They got a big shift on him. Nobody on the right side. Stay inside this pitch. There you go.
Pham hits the hole on the right side. Hosmer's going to try for third. Bellinger's throw not in time. And the Pods are in business with runners in the corners and nobody out.
See, we talked to the manager today about possibly is this a scenario where you could talk to your team and utilize some of the things that the defense gives you, because you're almost in a desperation mode, right? And that was a perfect example of staying inside the ball, wide open right field, and he just goes there. That was planned the entire way. And trust me, it's not as easy as we may make it sound, but it's there for guys to take advantage of if the game planning allows them to stay disciplined to their mechanics, perfectly executed.
That got through quickly. That was a 110-mile-an-hour ground ball off the bat of Tommy Pham. Runners at the corners now for Mitch Moreland, who had a big pinch hit RBI double late yesterday. Moreland on the first pitch, chops it to Muncy, and is able to at least get the out on the hitter with Pham advancing.
Now that was a great play on everybody's part. It could have been real easy for Hosmer to get thrown out and get caught and run down. And the pitcher did a great job covering the bag when you're in between a first baseman. Either watch what the pitcher's got to duck out of, right? He's got to get out of the way of the first baseman, but make sure he gets to the bag. Really well executed. And now it's going to come up to Will Myers to make sure he gets the ball in play to tie this game up.
And Myers has been intentionally passed. Yeah. So instead of messing with the right-handed hitter who's got some pop, the Dodgers choose the rookie left-handed batter Jake Cronenworth.
Well, not a lot of experience this year against left-handers, and Cronenworth on his career, he's handled the fastball. He's held his own, and he battled last night in the ninth. One of the most impressive at-bats you will see from a young man against Kenley Jansen that actually gave them an opportunity to scare the Dodgers in that ninth inning.
One of the stars of this postseason for San Diego for sure. Cronenworth 7 for 15 with a homer and a triple this postseason. Big bases loaded spot for him with one gone in the home second. Trying to counterpunch the Dodgers, who scored the first run.
Inside.
We talked about Julio Urias being available and likely next in this game, and he's already up here in the second with one gone.
No.
Look, the last thing Dave Roberts wants to give the Padres is any momentum. So if it feels weird for a manager that's got the 2-0 lead to manage like his team is the one facing elimination, it shouldn't. In a 5-game series, as you mentioned, anything can flip. Pods with the bases loaded this year have been historic.
Well, here you go. Eerily similar. Second inning. 1 out, 3-0 count, bases loaded. Profar had the situation against Buehler, wasn't able to get it done. We'll see if the situation changes here for Jake.
Three-0 pitch is taken first strike, 3-1. Jason Castro, left-handed hitting catcher, due up next for San Diego. You kind of get the idea as to why the Dodgers wanted Kolarek here. The hope was that it wouldn't get to this. A fifth plate appearance coming with the bases loaded, and Kolarek has just walked in a run. And that's how the Padres get on the board in Game 3.
Well, it had to reach a little bit. Had he been set up out there, I believe he might have got the call, but just a little bit of a reach might have been the difference.
You know, this is where San Diego has been so good. One of the many aspects where the Pods have distinguished themselves this year. And to your point, John, that pitch looked as though it got the corner. But it's a 1-1 ball game, and now Jason Castro with another bases loaded spot. San Diego had a great answer back rate this year, in particular late in ball games. Answer back being defined as when the opponent scores, you score in the immediate half inning following the runs. After the 6th inning this year, the Padres had an answer back rate, which was an MLB best 40%. They answer back early here tonight, and it's 0-2. Here are the numbers you talked about earlier, John. So good with the runners in scoring position this year, but not so much in this series.
Well, they've been really good against the whole league except for the Dodgers. Just an average and everything. The Dodgers have had their number, but against the rest of the league, they have dominated in a lot of categories.
0-2 to the veteran left-handed hitting catcher. Back to Kolarek. To the plate, they get the out there.
And see, here's the thing that I like about that at bat. It did not produce a run. But guess what a strikeout does? Doesn't produce a run. I know the chances of that ball being thrown away are not great, but they're better than what a strikeout is, right? So you got to find a way to put the ball in play against a tough left-hander, and he does that. And we've seen several occasions where a pitcher gets too excited and kind of chucks one from there. So.
All right, well, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but if that ball gets back to Kolarek quicker, it's a double play ball potentially.
Maybe, but you don't know what the transfer is going to be, right? Those are the things in a playoff game. If you can put the ball in play and create pressure, although be it even if it's a double play, the strikeout rate of some teams is so high, I just don't think the success rate of running the tables is going to be that good.
So bases loaded opportunity now for Trent Grisham, who's bunting and bunts it foul.
Now, that with the bases loaded is a little tougher task. The only thing you're trying to do there, he's trying to drag that with him past the pitcher towards first base. He's not going to surprise Turner as much as he gets in that Bermuda Triangle where his speed will beat the pitcher and the first baseman.
Chopper, tough play for Seager, throwing across the body, not in time, and a run scores. Grisham's got some of the best speed on the roster, and San Diego has taken their first lead of the night.
2 at-bats I'm going to remember if the San Diego Padres are able to win this game. Tony Pham, and then this one. A chopper where shortstop normally is, but because of the shift, no chance.
Well, so here we are, some 5 outs into the game, and the Dodgers are already going to the bullpen for a second time tonight. It'll be Julio Urias to try to get out of this jam. We'll be right back.
Take me out to the ball game.
Take me out to the couch.
Baseball or football or racquetball, we don't mind, we'll watch any at all.
'Cause it's root for the home team.
No way, we don't really care. Oh, no, I care.
'Cause sports are finally back and there's a Bud Light there.
For $5, you could upgrade to the Sparkly Sprinkle Pack on Cupcake Conquest. Or you could upgrade to all this. 2 crunchy tacos and a medium drink. Plus, the beefy cheesy layers of the $5 Grande Stacker Box. Only at Taco Bell.
Is it too early to start celebrating Halloween? Well, if you're celebrating by eating Reese's, then no. You're actually late. Not sorry, Reese's.
Ready or not, here I come.
Gillette Pro Glide and Pro Glide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and keep you happy.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small about your small business.
With insurance designed for your small business, the Buck's got your back.
Already the second Hartford pitching change of the game for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Adam Kolarek goes only 2/3 of an inning, and he yields to left-hander Julio Urias with the bases loaded and 2 runs in here in the second.
Yeah, tough spot for this left-hander, but he is a talented left-hander at one of their starters during the regular years, but he's also been used out of the pen. He's trying to wiggle out of a jam right here. One small correction for me, Tommy Pham. Sorry, I think I might have said Tony Pham. Great at bat along with Trent's hit against the shift.
Fernando Tatis Jr. 0-1 to him. He walked and was caught stealing in the first. But we knew we were going to see a lot of pitchers in this game. John, I didn't think that the bullpen gate would be swinging open so frequently as early as it has tonight. 0-1 to Tatis.
Yes, he did.
Behind 0-2.
Well, this is the thing that the Dodgers, I mean, they're so talented. They really didn't have to go this route, but they've chosen to kind of utilize a lot of weapons. You think about what they were in the regular season. Their 1 through 5 starters were outstanding. They're going to need all 5 of them for the next round if they're able to continue, you know, they win this series. 7 days in a row. 7 days in a row. Next round, waiting for the Atlanta Braves.
Still 0-2 to Tatis. For San Diego, of course, a bases loaded opportunity for Fernando Tatis in this ballpark. We'll remind fans of what happened here on August 17th. Had a big day here in this place. His 10th and 11th homers of the season. Of course, we know about the now growing urban legend of the take sign with the bases loaded in a 7-run game here. He hit the grand slam ignoring the sign. And a swing and a miss gets Urias out of the jam. Padres do get 2, however. And the end of 2. It's 2-1 San Diego. And I guess, John, we're getting closer and closer to some normalcy. Fans will be allowed in.
Can't wait
for the LCS and for the World Series, which will be held here.
If I could, I'd shake every one of their hands, but I don't think they're going to let me do that.
Nobody wants to shake your hand. Nothing personal. Mookie Betts leads things off in the 3rd for Los Angeles. Betts, Seager, and Turner. And Adrian Morejon continuing for a 3rd inning. And if I had to bet on one of the 2 starters that would have been allowed to go a little deeper, and we talked about this earlier with Brian Kenny on our pregame show. Even in a perfect world, we didn't think either one of them was going to be around very long. But for me, it was a super short appearance, an opener assignment, if you will, of just an inning.
Well, I think now is an opportunity for the Padres to steal outs. And what I mean by that is the score allows them to have a they got a 1-run lead, but you see the bullpen's hot. And whatever they can steal now is just going to benefit them and their usage down the road, because they are in a position where they have to do this. The Dodgers really aren't. the Dodgers are choosing to do this. The Padres have no choice because of their injuries. So they've got to play chaotic baseball, almost perfect baseball, and create this kind of mess and matchups and hope that every guy that comes out of that bullpen door is locked in.
And there's ball 4 to Betts. Mookie aboard to start the 3rd. You know, not that we're going to celebrate Mookie Betts because he takes walks, because he does everything else. But I think an underreported element of his greatness is his eye and his discipline at the plate. This year he swung at 271 pitches in the strike zone and missed 18 of them.
I know it is. You had to reread that and look at that and go to percentage when you go to like 7 or 8%, whatever that is. That's insane.
7%.
It's pretty good at math. I can't say a lot of things about anything else, but.
But I mean, we marvel at the athleticism. He hits for power. He runs. All 5 tools. But at the micro level, he's just so disciplined of a hitter. Here's Corey Seager now.
I look at the elite players, no matter what position. A position player, a batter at the zone is going to have a spot he owns. He might be a little vulnerable here, but for the most part, he creates fear for the pitcher because the pitcher knows I can't throw it here. Same thing for a pitcher. If he owns a particular part of the plate, he puts stress on the hitter and say, I better not miss a mistake, because if I don't, the pitcher's going to get me out because of his command. Mookie does that. He's the inner lane, the inner part of the plate. He's not missing that, and he doesn't expand in off the plate too much.
And that one gets away from Castro. Mookie will be able to advance on the wild pitch.
Yeah, the only downside here now in stealing the outs is you might get yourself in a situation where in stealing outs for Adrian on the mound, you create a little bit more chaos than you want. Looks like he's got a couple pitches getting away from him this inning, and Dodgers are poised to tie up the game with a runner on second, nobody out.
So Larry Rothschild comes out. A quick visit.
It's funny because we all take for granted. We take for granted how pitchers who haven't done something, we think, oh, this is the time they can expel. Maybe he'll throw 4 innings. Well, he's never thrown more than 40.
Yeah, he's at a career high now.
And there's a fatigue factor that comes in no matter what the environment prepares you for, or the adrenaline. And you're just not used to it.
Yeah. Superstars can do that to one another. Right?
It's like a club.
Yeah.
You or I today, we couldn't have done that. We just can't, if we happen to be in that situation.
Well, you could have. I never, at any point, could I not have. 1-0 to Seager is swung on and missed. That was an interesting visit on the mound, by the way, when Larry Rothschild came out, because Morejon's first language is Spanish, and he speaks baseball English, but he's much more comfortable speaking Spanish, according to Jace Tingler, his manager, who is also fluent in Spanish. You saw Manny Machado playing a role of translator there. Good breaking ball taken for a strike.
It's just amazing to me how much the percentage of pitchers that throw a strike when their pitching coach comes out. I want so bad to track it one year, but there's no way to do it. But my point is, he came out there and he says, okay, we got 2 things going on. Get back to your basics, and then, you know what? Mookie Betts at second's dangerous to steal the third. You got to pay attention. Because, again, look where Manny Machado's playing as opposed to the speed at second.
1-2 to Seager is sent back up the middle. A diving stop by Tatis. Throw from his knees, gets away from Hosmer, and Betts will score. What looked like a highlight play waiting to happen turns into a run-scoring play for Los Angeles, and it's a 2-2 ball game.
Well, one of the hardest hit average guys in the league, the 4th best, Seager, absolutely rifled one up the middle. Perfectly played, as you mentioned. And again, one that Hosmer usually comes up with. Watch this play. As soon as he gets up, he knows he's got to make an absolute perfect hard throw and it bounces twice. And that's one typically Hosmer gets.
So that's going to be all for the rookie left-hander. A walk, a wild pitch, and then a tough defensive moment behind him spells the end of his career-long start. San Diego into its bullpen, their first change, and we'll be right back.
Geico made it so easy to bundle our home and auto insurance that we thought, how can we make it easy to keep track of our daughter on a date? So we hired a play-by-play announcer.
Here on a date with Tyler Courtney and yours truly. Ooh, Tyler puts his arm around Courtney. Hands to yourself, slugger. Swing and a miss for the rookie. I'm here all evening where there's no chance for romance.
It worked.
It's easy to bundle and save with Geico, proud partner of MLB.
You know what beats next day shipping? Getting it the same day. So shop Ace online and get free in-store or curbside pickup right in your neighborhood. Or get what you need delivered the very same day you order.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Introducing Wendy's new Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. Nothing will distract you from the pretzel bun and beer cheese. Not even all the comments on the pic you posted of your Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. Download the app to order ahead and get Wendy's rewards.
Don't be afraid. This Halloween will be just like last. We'll buy tons of Reese's Cups for the youngins. Then eat them all ourselves. Reese's.
For $5, you could upgrade to the Sparkly Sprinkle Pack on Cupcake Conquest. Or you could upgrade to all this. 2 crunchy tacos and a medium drink. Plus, the beefy cheesy layers of the $5 Grande Stacker Box. Only at Taco Bell.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo. Of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of Whiskers. Sorcerer of Scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small about your small business.
With insurance designed for your small business, the Buck's got your back.
4 lefties in Jace Tingler's postseason bullpen, and 28-year-old southpaw Matt Strom will be the first one to appear. He'll try to get out of a spot with nobody out, a run in and a man at second base, facing the meat of the Dodger order. Justin Turner takes the first pitch into left field. Seager takes the turn at third, and the Dodgers go back out on top by a run, and that's a baseball that Justin Turner might want to put in the trophy case back home. His 64th postseason hit. Yeah, he's very aware he wants that one. He's passed Steve Garvey for a new Dodger postseason franchise record.
They've been sitting on that for a while, and he got an inside pitch, which he loves, and didn't miss it. The high leg kick timing mechanism, and then an easy run scored with the spacious outfield and the deep depth of which the San Diego Padre outfielders have to play. And just like that, that's what this Dodger team is capable of doing. They put pressure on you every chance they can.
So now Max Muncy, still nobody out. So we're in the top of the third. We've already had 2 lead changes and 3 pitching changes.
And many, many, many more to come.
Some of the info on Craig Stammen. Craig Stammen, not Strom, as I incorrectly stated a moment ago. Stammen making his 25th appearance of the year overall. An ERA in the mid-5s. And Stammen has a strike to Max Muncy.
So here's the incredible play. This is what makes this guy so unique. He gets to balls most people couldn't. At that point, I felt like that ball, because of the great hands that Hosmer had, although be it a difficult play, he tried to make the stay on the bag type play, and that allowed the ball to get by him. But those guys together are going to be dynamic for the Padres. They're only going to get better defensively. They're only going to be more highlight reel plays as this man keeps playing shortstop.
2 balls and a strike. The count to Muncy. 2 runs in, nobody out. Turner is first, and Muncy wraps it to the right side. Great play by Cronenworth. Actually, in the shift, that was Manny Machado out there at the second base spot.
So smooth. Doesn't matter where he is. He was ready to play. Look, he was ready to throw to second. Watch this. He dives, gets up. I'm going to throw to second. Nope. I'll wait. Throw it over to my big first baseman. Muncy squares it up, hits it super hard on the ground, and gosh, he's got good hands, good feet. Usually never makes a bad throw.
Well, I mean, that's just so much harder than any of us can understand. Different angles. Manny Machado's made his living on the left side of the infield. You move him around on the shift. He takes a tough chance like that and makes it look easy. Here's the catcher, Will Smith, now with Turner advancing on the out.
Yes, he did.
Matty, we got some great third basemen in our game. I mean, I just don't think there's a better one than Manny Machado. I know Nolan Arenado is right there. I haven't followed every game he's played. I just don't ever he doesn't make a bad throw, and it doesn't get by him often.
Guy in Oakland's pretty good.
Guy in Oakland's fantastic. That's what I'm saying. We got some great third basemen.
Yeah.
So it's splitting hairs, but when he made the move over to third, a lot of people were like, man, he was so good at short. But eventually he's going to be a third baseman. And I don't think that was his first choice, but he's made the adjustment at third about as good as anybody could make. And it just shows to his talent, his feet, his hands.
I mean, that'll back up your point. Of course, we know that it's more than just fielding percentage at a position like that. Outs above average, the new metric that measures defense, is a real good one. Takes into account a lot of things that DRS did not. And Smith can't hold up. 2 away.
I know this is not a question I should be asking now because neither you or I know this answer, but I would love to know what goes into effect when he's playing over there. When he plays second base, how does that affect his third base? You know, that's my point. It's like that's not going to be quantified.
Right. Hard to calculate when a guy's in the shift and moving around. Yeah.
He's in that spot that a lot of people couldn't be in, and making plays like that. That puts him over the top for me.
2 gone now, and it'll be Cody Bellinger with a runner at second. So Stammen comes on out of the bullpen, gives up the RBI single to Turner, gets Muncy, and then strikes out Smith.
I'll tell you one thing, I can't wait for the future of this ballpark. I can't wait to see what the outfield assists look like. I don't think there can be many.
Yeah, it's a big one, huh?
Take a lot of pressure off the third base coach.
That's a good point. I know when they opened the doors to this place and the Rangers came here to take BP in the spring before the COVID shutdown, Joey Gallo was among those saying, man, this place is big. And if Joey Gallo thinks a ballpark is big, it is big. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Cody Bellinger.
Well, I hope they don't panic and move the fences in, because that's how you turn your franchise around if you're going to build a stadium like this.
And now the Padres will intentionally walk Bellinger after falling behind. So Jace Tingler will choose A.J. Pollock now with runners at first and second and 2 gone. Pollock was hit by a pitch in the second inning.
What a year he had power-wise.
Oh, boy. And be careful with a fastball. Nobody in baseball hit more homers off the fastball than A.J. Pollock. 12 of his 16 against the heater.
He likes the first pitch as well. I would think a cutter or slider first pitch against A.J. Pollock.
Veteran right-hander set. Stammen's first pitch. Yeah, wrinkle. 0-1. It's the age-old pitching axiom, right? Do you pitch to the hitter's weakness, or do you pitch to your strength?
Most of the time you pitch to your strength, unless there's a glaring, like in this case, first pitch fastball hitter. You got to try to stay away from that. You got to try to do something, especially in this situation.
Oh, 1 to Pollock, sent out to left field. That's going to get down and score another run. Here's Turner. Bellinger to third. 4-2 LA.
Got. Got a fastball, and kind of the thing the Dodgers have been preaching is doesn't matter how hard you hit it as long as you get that base hit. And this is the sign they give in the dugout after someone doesn't barrel one up but gets a good result.
Just the second hit of the series for Ray J. Pollock, but it's one that drives in a run. And now it's Jock Peterson in a matchup that gives LA a bit of a platoon advantage here. First and third, 3 runs in. Peterson is the 8th Dodger to bat in the inning. This is exactly what Dave Roberts was talking about when he was asked about starting Peterson against a left-hander. He liked the advantage that he knew would be created later on in the game. And by later on, he meant after the first inning.
Yeah. Well, if you're that man, you can do some things that allow you to be more patient than other organizations because of the depth you have. And that offense will hide a lot of things because they're so good. And they were great in the regular season.
Pollock runs, and it's fouled away. The Dodgers are really keeping their foot on the gas pedal early here. AJ's unclear as to whether or not that was fouled. Got to go back. The splits on Peterson, as we talked about, a real force against right-handed pitching. Not as lethal against southpaws.
Got to throw something that spins here for Craig.
Pollock runs again. That one misses up and into Peterson, and Pollock steals the base. They sent him on back-to-back pitches.
No.
AJ took 2 bags in 4 attempts during the regular season. And now LA's got 2 runners in scoring position for Peterson. Jock looking for his first hit of the series. 0 for 4 against San Diego the past couple of nights. The 1-2.
No, ball's inside.
Padre bullpen getting hot again. Luis Patino's up.
They got to keep it. They got to find a way to get it out right here. Do the Padres?
Well, somebody's got to give them some bulk.
Yeah.
And you can say the same for the Dodgers. They've got Urias in the game now. They've got a shot at that. But to think that you're going to get 2/3 of an inning out of everybody and everybody's going to be clean is that's pie in the sky type stuff. The 2-2.
No, he didn't.
And a full count now.
Did he swing, Quinn? 3-2.
Castro wanted the appeal.
He's still got to throw a breaking ball here. 3-2. And the numbers just scream breaking ball based on the lack of success that Jock has had against right-handed breaking balls. He tried to throw an inside cutter. But anything that spins over the heart of the plate and ends up down, he will swing at it. That's what you got to think if you're a pitcher and you've looked at the video and seen the numbers that kind of tell you that.
3-2 pitch. And Peterson lines it into the opposite field. Bellinger scores. Pollock right behind it. 6-2 Dodgers.
He just never comes off a fastball. That's classic Jock Peterson. You could throw him 17 pitches, and as soon as you throw him the 17 pitches of fastball, he's going to be ready for it. And this isn't even that bad of a pitch. It's fastball away, but because he loves fastballs, he's not deterred by no matter how hard you throw it.
Players close on Pollock. Able to get in comfortably in front of the throw. And the Dodgers have erupted for a 5-run inning. San Diego will go to its 3rd pitcher of the inning. LA will officially bat around after a break for another pitching change. 6-2 LA.
On the court, you celebrate him. You love his passion and his intensity.
Final shot. It's good.
But what if you take away the court and the uniform? Is he still your hero? Do you care for him as a player and as a man? Dove Men Plus Care and the National Basketball Players Association are partnering to change the way the world sees and treats black men. Join us at CommitToCareNow.com.
Introducing Wendy's new Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. Nothing will distract you from the pretzel bun and beer cheese. Not even all the comments on the pic you posted of your Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. Download the app to order ahead and get Wendy's rewards.
Your house brought you together. Like, really together. And although together is great, together with more space is better. With Rocket Mortgage, you get personalized loan options, closing costs, and tax estimates all in real time. So when you need to know what it takes for a home to fit your budget and your family, Rocket can.
Oh, yeah. It's footlong season. Time to get that Subway contact-free. Order with a tap, pick up in a snap, or get contact-free delivery. Either way, it's touchdown tasty, baby. Could I get one of those little jets? Subway, eat fresh.
Where some see a barber, I see a magician. I see Hugo, of Hair by Hugo. Wizard of whiskers. Sorcerer of scissors. Houdini of hair. Hugo is a small business owner. Me, I'm the Hartford Buck, and I see nothing small about your small business.
With insurance designed for your small business, the Buck's got your back.
San Diego's 3rd pitcher of the inning is the hard-throwing rookie right-hander Luis Patino, who will face the 9th Dodger batter to come to the plate here in the 3rd. And Chris Taylor swings and misses. Another Hartford pitching change. Patino actually made his major league debut against the Dodgers in early August this year. 2 innings on that afternoon. 11 games overall during the regular season. And at this point, the Pods are scrambling just to get outs and get out of what's turned into a nightmare inning. 0-2 to Taylor.
Fastball, slider, changeup. You mentioned fastball. He could bring it. Running up there on average about 97 miles an hour.
Taylor struck out in the 2nd. Again, the 9th Dodger batter to come to the plate. Taylor lifts a high fly ball into shallow left. Pham has it to apply a merciful end to a tough inning for San Diego. Dodgers feel a lot differently about it. 5 big runs in their half of the 3rd. And LA has taken their biggest lead of game 3. 6-2 Dodgers. 6-minute inning yielded him 5 runs to give LA a 6-2 lead. He's going to try to get as many, quote, bulk innings out of Julio Urias as he can. Julio finished off the second with a strikeout, and here in the third, they'll get Machado, Hosmer, and Pham for San Diego.
This will be like a start day for Julio, and again, he's one of their starters as well as Gonsolin and May.
No.
So moving forward, the only known commodity is the Atlanta Braves have won. They are coming here to play somebody, and they got a chance to do 3 clean things, win in 3 clean games. The Dodgers are hoping to do the same thing because you're going to need a lot of starters from this point on in the best of 7 series with no days off.
2 balls and a strike to count to Manny Machado. To the winner of this series, the Atlanta Braves, who closed out the Miami Marlins in Houston today. A chopper to third, and Turner with a slightly off throw, handled by Muncy for out number 1. And as far as what's happening in the American League Division Series, let's say hello to Brian Kenny and get an update from what happened in San Diego earlier today. BK?
Matt, thank you so much. Geico Studio update. The Yankees are still alive. Home runs for the Bombers from Luke Voigt, and this one from Gleyber Torres. He crushed this. Torres 2 for 3 with a walk. Jordan Montgomery went 4 innings, gave up 1 run. They got 4 outs from Aroldis Chapman. Yankees take it 5-1. That's a final. Series is tied up at 2 games apiece. Game 5 tomorrow. Matt?
Yeah, Brian, thanks. And to no one's surprise, listed at this hour as TBA versus TBA.
I doubt that. I'm going to put all my chips, Matty, on one Mr. Garrett Cole.
Yeah, it's Garrett Cole tomorrow, although it's not been made official as of MLB.com's most recent posting. Ball and a strike to count to Eric Hosmer.
Well, 2 teams that have history against each other are going to have the spotlight potentially tomorrow by themselves in a Game 5, winner take all, to play the Houston Astros. Who saw that coming?
Yeah, Astros beat up on the Oakland A's to win that best of 5, 3-1 earlier today at Dodger Stadium. Just another example of the Houston Astros putting their feet up on the furniture at Chavez Ravine. They are shockingly comfortable in that ballpark. And Dodger fans need no reminder of 2017. Ball and 2 strikes to count to Eric Hosmer. You know, for Julio Urias at the beginning of the season, Dave Roberts was very clear that the governor was off. They had handled him with kid gloves leading into the season for obvious reasons. He's 4 years removed from his dazzling debut as a 19-year-old phenom. Reason enough to be careful with him. But then having endured major shoulder surgery that required a 16-month rehab, they were understandably cautious with the way they used him when he came back. But all that is behind him. And he was a full green light go this year from opening day on. One and 2 to Hosmer.
No.
2-2.
I got it.
Well, some might ask, why didn't he just start tonight's game, right? I mean, these are the questions that, well, the Dodgers got a 2-0 lead. They can pretty much do what they want, but I think the talent that they have and the depth that they have in the rotation, it speaks in statistics. I mean, they led the world in ERA, opponent's batting average, you name it, they led it. That's how good they are on the mound.
Tommy Pham waiting next. Yeah, I mean, I would liken it to the Dodgers have so many options. It's the kid who has a closet full of toys and he's unsure of which one to play with next. There's so many choices, so many ways to match up because it's such a complete roster. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hosmer sends a sinking liner into shallow left center, run down by Bellinger. JP Morosi with us, and JP, the Dodgers roster does have a lot of options, and it has evolved.
It has, and Joe Kelly said earlier today, pointedly,
This is the best bullpen I've ever been a part of, and I have a World Series ring, of course, at the Dodgers' expense a couple years ago, but that just tells you how much depth they have there. And Corey Seager also talked today, Matt, about how diverse the offense has become. I think you thank Mookie Betts for that, but they can now manufacture runs, score runs with great base running. In addition to the power, this is probably the most complete team in baseball.
Yeah, good point. And in terms of manufacturing runs, a lot of people looked at this series when it began and said the Dodgers were a much more home run dependent lineup than the Padres. As it goes to 0-2 on Tommy Pham. Turns out that really hasn't mattered because LA has manufactured runs very nicely over the past couple of nights, and it's continued today.
That's a big reason why they keep showing up year in and year out and getting into the postseason. They don't strike out much.
Balls up.
Look at a Yankees-Rays game, 9-inning game, 18 strikeouts the Yankees had. And I think, isn't that the game they won?
I think you're right. Yeah, game 1.
Braves-Reds, first game of the season, first game of the playoffs. 37 strikeouts between the two.
Into shallow right, and Betts with a hop puts it away.
Braves had 21, and they won that game.
Go figure. Mookie Betts will lead things off. Top of the order as we go to the 4th. Dodgers on top in game 3, 6-2. Geico with Hall of Famer John Smoltz and John Morosi, Matt Vasgersian. The Dodgers had the early advantage in game 3. San Diego with its back up against the wall. Insert cliche here. And Luis Patino will continue. The 3rd San Diego pitcher used in this game already. He gets the top of the order. Betts, Seager, and Turner. This part of the order led things off last inning and turned it into 5 big runs.
Balls inside.
You know, we were building the profile earlier about Mookie Betts and what a refined batter's eye he has. What makes him additionally dangerous is that when he chooses to go out of the strike zone, he's just as lethal.
1-2.
He had the best slugging percentage in baseball on non-strikes. Behind a ball and 2 strikes here leading off the 4th. Lined into left, a solid base hit, maybe more as Mookie takes an aggressive turn. He's going to get all the way to second with a leadoff double.
I'm going to guess it's in that area where he never misses. See how they went in? I'm surprised that they went in because that's his sweet spot. He pulls his hands in. He gets the barrel of the bat to the ball so quick. He's got quick hands. And we already talked to you about what he doesn't do. He doesn't miss in there.
Here's Corey Seager now with the leadoff hitter in scoring position. Seager singled and scored in the 5-run 3rd. You know, the rivalry between the Padres and Dodgers, and it's a geographic rivalry. It's a rivalry of fan bases. For Padre fans, there have been a lot of Dodger villains who have traveled south and ruined the day. Raul Mondesi used to wear out the Pods. Eric Gagne was a problem for Padre fans for a long time. Mookie Betts has started his Dodger career as one of those guys. In 9 games against the Padres during the regular season, he was 12 for 28.
And he had 3 home runs against them.
Had a 3-home run game against San Diego on August 13th. So yeah, he's becoming one of those guys that does it to the Pods.
Wow, what a stop there by Casper.
Here are the numbers. Just a small sample size, granted, in 9 games in this 60-game shortened season, but plenty of damage. Look at the OPS. You're 1,200.
many more years? 11? 12?
I mean, a lifetime.
1-2.
This is going to be the last uniform he wears. He's going to be a part of this rivalry for another decade. So the Padre fans, I guess, have to get used to it. One of the most dynamic players in baseball is on the other side. But this is where the rivalry is different, because for the first time in such a long time, the Padres can match the Dodgers. Yes, this series hasn't had that result yet, and tonight's hasn't had that result. But position for position, talent for talent, it's more even this year than it's been in 15 seasons.
Yeah, if you just pick the left side of the infield and you add the third baseman and shortstop, you know, what they've done together, Padres have number 1. Dodgers have number 2 statistically. Like the left side with Turner and Seager, but the dynamic duo of Machado and Tatis, that's going to make for that lack of rivalry will make up the last 5 years will be made up in the next 2 to 3 years for sure.
Yeah. 2 strikes to count to Seager. Well, it's been a lopsided run, and consider this: during the course of these 8 consecutive division titles for the Dodgers, Los Angeles and San Diego have played head-to-head 143 times. The Dodgers are 94-49 against San Diego during that period. The 2-2 to Seager's in the dirt.
And that's part of the reason why people may not understand what yesterday was about. It was a lot about that. There was so much emotion of getting themselves back into this series, kind of taking down the bullies, and Kershaw, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball, on the mound, and you crawl back in. That's what yesterday was about. It was their moment, the Padres' moment, and the Dodgers kind of calmly said, no. I mean, with a great play. I mean, there's so much action, and there were so many chances there for the Padres to turn the tables, but their time will come.
Full count, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Might come tonight. We got a lot of baseball left tonight, my friend.
Yep.
Still full, in a rare deep count for Corey Seager. Betts doubled to start the inning, and it stays 3 balls and 2 strikes to Seager.
Runner in scoring position. Nobody has had a higher swing rate than Corey Seager. You can see it here.
I mean, he's usually a guy who's either on base or out within 4 pitches.
But you could tell what he's been able to do being totally healthy this year. I mean, you think about the free agent market at the shortstop position next year.
Yeah.
Good luck making those choices.
Well, Seager has really remade his market as he takes ball 4. It is a decorated class with Javi Baez, Trevor Story, Marcus Simeon's on the market as of today. He'll be the first, and then next year, after the 2021 season, Francisco Lindor. I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch.
It is.
Conversation now. Another appearance by Larry Rothschild. Dodgers have first and second with nobody out in the 4th.
%52 of men between 40 and 70 experience ED. Many don't get treated. With Roman, get genuine ED medication prescribed online if appropriate and delivered in discreet packaging. Get up to $50 off today at GetRoman.com/TV.
Double and a walk, nobody out. Another opportunity for Justin Turner, who drove in a run back in the 3rd. Just his 2nd hit of the postseason. But it was a big one, as we mentioned at the time, passing Steve Garvey to have top honors all by himself for most hits ever by a Dodger in postseason play. Justin also scored a run in the third. And now he's one shy of Steve Garvey's record for that in a postseason. Career postseason runs scored. Garvey holds the mark at 29. Justin Turner has scored 28. Garvey, that rare figure that enjoys a big postseason profile in both Los Angeles and San Diego. In fact, Steve Garvey was in the middle of the last time the Padres were able to come back from a deficit like this.
They did against the Cubs, right? They won the last 3 games.
Yep. The 1984 NLCS down 0-2. Fly ball out to right for Myers, who makes the catch. Betzel advance, and there is one away. Yeah, the Garvey homer against Lee Smith, and the call is still a classic. I believe it was Don Drysdale calling that on ABC, and there will be a tomorrow was his line in the Game 4 homer. I think that's going to be all for Patino. Second visit to the mound. Hill worked on Tuesday night in this series and allowed 1 unearned run in his 2/3 of an inning. His number was called often during the regular season this year.
Yeah, one of the rare left-handed, I wouldn't call it submarine, but let's just say low 3/4 sidearm. Funky delivery, trying to make it as tough as possible on the left-handers.
Dodgers have runners at the corners with 1 away from Max Muncy, who takes a strike. Max has walked, scored, and grounded to third tonight. Innings where the Dodgers have trailed this postseason have been rare. There's one of them tonight. Big numbers with runners in scoring position again tonight for LA. Show you the sac fly line. That's around where Muncy needs to lift the fly ball to get speedy Mookie Betts home, and
that's more of Mookie Betts than it is the arm strength of people, right? It's just the speed of Mookie.
It's everything considered, but Mookie's speed is what makes that line so shallow. Two and two. Entering the game tonight, the Dodgers had trailed in just 2 innings over 4 games. And never trailed to the Brewers in the wild card series. Full count, 3 and 2. Thirty-year-old left-hander trying to wiggle off this hook with runners at the corners, and there's a start. A big strikeout of Max Muncy, and there are 2 away.
Yeah, everything from this point in has to be perfect for the Padres. So each guy that comes in got to be locked in. You cannot afford to give up another run. You got to trust your offense, which scored a lot during the regular season, is going to find a way to score enough runs to at least tie the game up.
Here's Will Smith now. He's doubled and struck out tonight. The double, his first hit of the postseason, snapping an 0 for 11. And there's his second. That's good enough to bring in Betts and make it 7-2 Los Angeles. Throw to third is not in time to try to get Seager.
Nice.
Well, we talked about him squaring up a lot of balls, and sooner or later they were going to start falling in. Well, he keeps squaring them up. He hit one down the line and run right back up the middle for another base hit with runners in scoring position. Watch where this ball goes. Right back up and just over the glove of Tim Hill.
7 runs on 7 hits for Los Angeles, and the Fire still good and hot, runners at the corners. So now Cody Bellinger, who's reached on a fielder's choice, walked and scored. This is turning into one of those scorecards where it looks like each Dodger is going to have 6 plate appearances tonight. Batted around in the 3rd. Bellinger's the 6th Dodger to hit in the 4th.
No, it's inside.
2 balls and no strikes. Bellinger was so good against left-handed pitching last year. Led the National League with 18 homers against left-handers last season in his MVP run. Fades a pop into foul territory, and that one gets out of play.
The one thing that Bellinger really struggled early on and was so off balance and was getting exposed, especially inside. Pitchers were throwing him up and in, and he wasn't able to really stay off of that pitch. Lately, it looks like his swing's more in tune. It's a violent swing, but it almost seems like the harder someone throws, the harder he tries to swing. That low fastball that he hit for a homer to center field almost felt like it locked him in a little bit better, and his approach has been much better. And they're hoping it continues because his postseason career has not statistically been very good.
Late to make it 2-2. Yeah, a bunch of strikeouts in the 2017 World Series. Now, something tells me he's going to have a lot more opportunities to play deep into the fall. Bellinger sends a drive out to right center. It's Myers under it to retire to side. However, one more in the LA half of the 4th. Middle of the 4th. And a 7-2 lead for the Dodgers in the middle of the 4th inning in Arlington tonight. A pinch hitter will start things in the San Diego half of the 4th as Jurickson Profar is sent up to bat for Mitch Moreland. Versatile switch hitter who really had a nice bounce back season for the Pods this year after a downturn in Oakland last season.
Well, the Pods got to find a way. They have to find a way to score a run this inning. 18-minute inning for Urias to sit on the bench. So we'll see if there's any ill effect to that. But if the Padres can turn over the bottom of the order and turn it up to the top of the order, they've got to find a way to crawl back in this game. Body language will change.
Profar hits it into the shift. Solid contact right up the middle, but right at Chris Taylor.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
There was a time not too long ago where you hit the ball up the middle with the bases empty like that, and it was a single, period.
Yep. Well, there's still a lot of room in the areas that just hitters don't go to, and that's why the data drives you to the positions on the ground where they're going to hit it.
There's Will Myers now. And JP, the Dodgers are masters at utilizing such data.
Their game planning, Matt, is probably the best in the sport. I was speaking with one rival executive in the last couple days, and he said they always have their people, their players, in the right situation. You're arming a team with so much talent with all the modern information, and also the coaching staff. We talked earlier in the game about how diverse the coaching staff is, and by having multiple coaches, Corey Seager talked earlier today about how different coaches give different messages that resonate very, very well with different players on the roster.
Myers lifts a fly ball to center, and there are 2 away here in the home 4th. Well, for those that are thinking of a 5-run deficit here being insurmountable, let us be the first to remind you, and I'm sure the Dodgers are processing this as well, that this is a very dangerous San Diego lineup. And while L.A. led the landscape in runs per game, homers, and slugging, the team right behind him in most of those categories was the San Diego Padres. 2 gone now for Jake Cronenworth.
Hey!
Cronenworth drew a bases-loaded walk back in the second. That accounted for the second run of the inning and gave San Diego a short-lived 2-1 advantage. Another pinch hitter waiting on deck. Should have get that far with 2 out. Austin Nola would bat for Jason Castro.
With 2 strikes, Justin Turner will make the full completion into the shift. Behind second base.
No, 2-2.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Dustin May started the game for LA, went 1 inning. And a called strike 3 taken by Cronenworth. 7 in a row set down by LA pitching. Still 7-2 Dodgers. For the Padres as this game turns to the top of the 5th inning. 7-2 Los Angeles, a new battery as Austin Nola takes over at catcher for Jason Castro. And the hard-throwing right-hander Dan Altavilla takes over on the mound.
See his numbers on the year. A late add to the roster because of Clevenger's injury.
And there's a leadoff base hit for A.J. Pollock. He's been on base in all 3 of his plate appearances tonight. Time for our Doosan Built to Win moments of the game, and the Dodger lineup has really spread the wealth. Everybody except for Chris Taylor has reached base. RBIs by Turner, Smith, A.J. Pollock, 2 RBIs for Jock Peterson. Lineup wide contributions in a 5-run lead in the middle innings.
Every time I see that Doosan, I want to drive one of those vehicles like bulldozer, backhoe, front loader, any of those things.
You just cool your jets there by saying none of us want to see you driving. I could not imagine the damage you would do.
Yeah, tear something up.
Peterson has struck out and then cashed in with that 2-run single in the 5-run third. I heard you and Joe Davis yesterday on FS1 for game 2, and when Dan Altavilla came in the game, he threw a perfect 9th, struck out 2 of the 3 faced. I don't hear you in wow mode very often when it comes to guys that you've never seen pitch before, but you were in it last
Yeah,
night.
he was throwing everything he needed to throw to be successful, and 100 miles an hour, I believe he touched a couple times, got a slingshot delivery.
It's outside, 2-0.
And you just wonder if he can consistently, or the lack of consistency keeps him from being that lock-in guy. And at least last night, it was pretty impressive. And so is his goatee, let's be honest. He's a professional.
I'll tap into a longtime Padre favorite. That's a Ken Caminiti goat.
Yep.
Jerk foul.
Brocail too, right?
Doug Brocail had he had one like that. Hey, by the way, here's the reason why we don't want you driving a Doosan heavy
this
rig.
is so different than what we're talking about, and you guys can't wait to get that in. That happened in San Diego, okay? And then look at the front. Every time I see it, I think how great of a play that would have been had the bag not moved. The bag moved. When I went to tag it, it moved.
Smothered by Hosmer. It trickles off the glove. And everybody's safe. Again, another play that looked like it was a great play waiting to happen. Similar to what happened on that ball hit to Tatis earlier. Instead, everybody's safe, and there are runners at first and second.
Well, the exit velo on that was pretty firm when it got to Hosmer, and you could see, had he gotten it there, there's a chance he could have turned two, but then it trickled off his glove, and Dodgers are at it again.
Did you have any other embarrassing moments at Petco Park that we can bring back on an NTT flashback?
Yeah, one that you guys will never know on video. When I got called up, made my debut in Shea Stadium. The guys had set me up when we got to San Diego, and there was a note on my chair, and it said, an interview with Mr. Bear. So I'm like, yeah, I just came off my pretty good debut. I want to call this guy, and I'm sure he wants to talk to me. So I went over. Back then, they had the little phone right there in the clubhouse. So I called up, dialed it up. It was the San Diego Zoo. All the guys were sitting there laughing at me when I dialed it up.
0-1 to Taylor. You probably thought, oh, I get to do an interview with Jerry Coleman or Ted Leitner.
Sure.
Right? No. Direct line to the zoo. Strike to Taylor puts him behind 0-2. A single by Pollock, an infield single off the bat of Jock Peterson, and now an 0-2 count to Chris Taylor, who, as we mentioned earlier, is the only Dodger starter not to reach base tonight. Now, there is just nowhere to hide in this lineup. Betts waiting next. Consider that Chris Taylor bats ninth. And he is one of a number of Dodgers to have really shined in the postseason. Co-MVP of the 2017 NLCS along with Justin Turner. Reached base in all 7 World Series games that year.
Amazing what Taylor's done to kind of reinvent himself. Kind of same swing and every pitch.
Sharply hit. Great play by Cronenworth. To Tatis for one. Relays not in time. Wow. That looked like that ball was ticketed for right field. What a fine play by the rookie second baseman.
And another ball that was squared up, and he gets to it on the short hop, makes the turn. And because he had to make this turn, and it took the time it did, Taylor's speed beats out the arm of Tatis.
That was 104 miles an hour off the bat. So now Mookie Betts, runners at the corners with one away.
Ball's up.
Watch a guy like Jake Cronenworth play, and you think, how could a guy like that ever have been traded? Especially from a team like Tampa, who if I were a GM, I would just never deal with the Rays.
Yeah. Because
you're going to get burned. What a good deal that turned into for San Diego.
Hey!
Again, Cronenworth and Pham in a 5-player swap. A ball and a strike to count to Betts. So much of San Diego's success this year built on trading. Fernando Tatis Jr. from the White Sox for a James Shields who was already pretty far along in his career with most of his great years behind him. James had a terrific career. Grisham with Zach Davies from the Brewers. And of course the deals this deadline that brought Nola and Clevenger.
Well, and they revamped their bullpen. It really was a strength at the end of the season. It really helped them get to this point. The bullpen was supposed to be a strength in the beginning, and it just didn't work out. And then they had the injury to Yates, and they went out and made moves and strengthened their bullpen.
Betts sends a drive out to right. That one carrying Myers back to the track, deepest part of the ballpark, and Will's able to make the catch. But Pollock comes in to score, and it's 8-2 Los Angeles.
Well, I can't remember a time that runners on scoring position that the Dodgers didn't make contact. Unless I'm missing something, there could have been one in there, maybe Will Smith, but they have done every little thing you have to do to score a run. When it's out there, they're putting the ball in play some way, somehow.
Here's Corey Seager. He has a base hit, has scored a run, and walked in this one.
I just got to give them a lot of credit. Up until this point, they had the most pressure on anybody in the postseason when it started was the Dodgers. And, you know, the first series was a scary one. You mentioned they didn't ever trail against the Milwaukee Brewers, but it's almost like they've done enough to have that sense of relief, like, yes, okay, stay patient. We are a good team. But they do have that pressure on them because of their depth and the season they had. Although be it 60 games, this is going to be of a team that has been talked about no world championship since 30 years or so.
Yep.
This is going to be a harder version of winning the World Series than anything they've done before. So they will have earned it. Anybody who wins this year will have earned a truly difficult World Series journey.
Down.
Well, it was everything to lose and nothing to gain against the Brewers, right? Because they were supposed to beat the 8th seed, and they did.
And again, you only wish, if you were a Padres fan, that you could have had your armed weapons ready for them.
Yes.
Both inside.
Because it truly would have been a nice battle when you talk about a healthy Clevenger, a healthy Lament. The ability for them to mix and match with the Dodgers starters.
2 balls and a strike to count to Corey Seager. Yeah, the landscape is littered with if we'd only had all of our guys' stories in postseason baseball history. 82 World Series, the Brewers take the Cardinals to a 7th game, but they have no Raleigh Fingers, no Gorman Thomas, and they lose in 7. We could keep going. There are hundreds of stories like that in postseason history. A little ankle burger that time for Seager. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Corey with 2 gone.
Both inside.
Full count.
3-2.
We showed you that number a moment ago, how the Dodgers have benefited from the long ball all year long. What you don't see on that box score is a homer. They've scored 8 runs without the benefit of a home run. That is the most runs they've scored without homering since September of 2019. About half their runs this year came via the homer. But don't be fooled into thinking that it's a one-dimensional lineup. Not by a long shot. Yeah. They're proving that tonight.
Both down.
Do we have
ball 4?
Do we have a final total of the number of home runs that were hit in their stadium by the Astros and the A's? I mean, 18 through.
Yeah, they set a record. Hang on, let me pull that up for you.
That's the irony of all the years, right? The best record usually plays at home, and they did that for the first series, but under the circumstances of COVID, they're going to play from this point on. Every game will be played for either the Dodgers, Padres, and Braves in this stadium.
Quick! The quicker picker-upper. Bounty.
Yeah, to answer your question, there were 24 homers hit in that series between Oakland and Houston. One that the Astros finished off today in 4 games. 12 for each team.
Wow.
In 4 games.
Well, my point being, if the Dodgers go on to win this series, the foreseeable future obviously will be in this park. So it's a different style park. It's a bigger park. And I think it suits the Dodgers no matter where they play because of the style of hitting they have.
First pitch, Justin Turner's in for a strike. I had Matt Strahm in the game earlier when I misspoke. Matt Strahm is up in the bullpen as we speak now. And it's 0-2 to Justin Turner. Seager and Taylor aboard with a run in and 2 away here in the 5th. Dodgers extending their lead to 8-2 on the Betts sac fly here. And Turner puts it in play for Hosmer. And with Altavilla covering, an end to the 5th. One more for Los Angeles, however, middle of the night. Dodgers on top by 6. Since '98 when they went to the World Series, and I contend things would have been a lot different in Game 1 of the World Series had it not been for the blown call. Mark Langston, a called strike, a cookie center cut to Tino Martinez, called a ball. Next pitch is a grand slam, and the Yankees sweep San Diego that year. And I still contend if that pitch was called properly, the series is a different matter altogether. San Diego might not have won. They might not have come back to beat the Yankees, but they wouldn't have been swept.
Could be onto something there, man.
Hang my cap on that one. Langley was squeezed. Ball and 2 strikes to Austin Nola, making his first plate appearance in the game. Came on as a defensive change last half inning. Nola, Grisham, and Tatis. And as the old Animal House line goes, got a lot of catching up to do. Called strike 3.
Nola's been playing a little banged up, trying to finish the year. Incredible story from a shortstop to a catcher. He has been beaten up lately.
You know, when you talk about the Padres in their first postseason since '06, I was one that in '06 thought that San Diego was loaded to make a deep run, and they couldn't get past the Cardinals. Again, that had been San Diego's postseason kryptonite until the wild card round this year, when the Pods finally overcame St. Louis. But in '06, down the stretch, San Diego had defeated the Cardinals in a series in late September. And then they drew them as a first-round opponent. And with the pitching staff that year that featured Jake Peavy, Chris Young was at the peak of his powers. Boomer Wells, resurgent year. Woody Williams was really, I thought they were going to beat the Cardinals and move on, but it wasn't to be, and St. Louis ends up winning a World Series title that year. And then it had been a long time since another postseason run. Ball and 2 strikes to Grisham.
You see how easy and nasty Urias is from the left-hand side. Bugs Bunny curveball, 96 easy gas. Let's see why they liked him as much as they did.
Ball's inside.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Trent Grisham. Tatis has walked and struck out in this one. 0 for 4 yesterday. He waits on deck. He'd like to have somebody on base for the big guys coming up next. Instead, it's a called strike 3 to Grisham. Well, I want to see that again. We're pretty high up here in this broadcast booth. Is that ball off the plate, John?
It was close. It had tremendous break over the zone. It's a matter of where that ball ended up. And say that it catches a corner. Yep,
it does.
Be careful on the first pitch here if you're Urias. I would think that Tatis is looking to do something on the first pitch.
First pitch swing and a ground ball for Turner. Turns into a 1-2-3 bottom of the 5th. Moving toward the 6th. In a still 8-2 Los Angeles lead. /Shear to join in the fun. Pitcher number 6 used by San Diego tonight is the left-hander Matt Strahm.
Good numbers on the year, tough to hit.
Hey! And he'll get a couple of left-handed batters in this inning. Muncy, who leads off, and then Bellinger scheduled to hit third with Will Smith in between. Muncy's walked and scored tonight, and he falls behind 0-2. The 2 best records in the National League.
It's kind of weird how that worked out. I mean, that typically wouldn't happen, right? Under any. But because of this system this year, it's the uniqueness allowed the 2 best records to play before you got to the NLCS.
Kind of like the regional feel of all these division series matchups. That's grounded into the shift. And Muncy is retired. So as we mentioned, Matt Strahm is the 6th pitcher used. We've seen 5 relievers in this game, and we're even seeing relievers, JP, that aren't here in person.
Yes, Matt. The bullpen, of course, as we know, always is a family, and the Padres have brought along a cardboard cutout of their beloved teammate Kirby Yates, who's out for the rest of the season. And there you see his wife, Ashley Yates, is there as well with the family section in the field level suite. So Kirby Yates, Ashley Yates, the Padres are thinking of both of you here in Arlington, Texas. And Matt, certainly we've seen cardboard cutouts all around the ballparks throughout the season. Now you see in the field level suites, both down the right field line with the Dodger family and the left field line with the Padres. Those are tier 2, meaning those family members have been part of the bubble in the hotel and quarantining outside of coming to the stadium. And then, of course, in the next round, as you mentioned, they expect around 11,500 fans here per game for the NLCS and World Series.
Yeah, a nice start to fans being allowed into the ballparks by seeing the families of players.
It's got to be weird for Clayton Kershaw, who's 20 miles from here, lives here.
Yeah.
Can't go home.
Yeah. He had his kids here yesterday.
Yeah, they're all in the bubble, so they're. But
there's a base hit for Will Smith into the opposite field. His 3rd of the game. Well, he got rid of that goose egg with an exclamation point tonight. Had been 0 for 11 this postseason before breaking out this evening. So now Cody Bellinger with 1 out and 1 on. He has reached on a fielder's choice, walked and scored tonight. Again, the Atlanta Braves get the winner of this series. Took care of the Marlins earlier today by sweeping that best of 5. Kyle Wright was fantastic today.
Oh, it's outside.
So Max Fried, Ian Anderson, and Kyle Wright.
That's pretty much how they're going to match up, because they'll have the 4 days off before they play on Tuesday. If the Dodgers win this game, you would think they'd go with the same collection of arms. Buehler, Kershaw, probably Dustin May or Gonsolin, because he hasn't pitched yet.
At some point we're going to see Tony Gonsolin in the postseason.
You have to.
Pretty
Next
good
series. You have to.
Pretty good weapon. Bellinger with a rocket back up the middle. Oh, and it gets by Grisham. It's a little away, and that allows Bellinger to get into second base. That will likely be scored a single and an E8.
One of the things that you can see, it took a little bit of a bad hop on him. One of the things that Dave Roberts preached to his team before this series started, he wanted them to grind out the at-bats because he knew there was a chance they were going to face a ton of pitchers. And he said the more pitchers we can face in the first game is going to give us an advantage the longer the series goes. So if we can see a lot of guys we haven't seen, all we've watched is video, he believed that was going to benefit his team as this series played on. And we're already in game 3, and they've seen on every one of these guys.
A.J. Pollock lines to third. It's gobbled up by Machado, and that's the second out.
You can just see from the second inning on, the average exit velocity from the Dodgers has to be one of the highest they've had all year, because these balls are tattooed. And luckily that ball didn't knuckle for Manning.
Yeah, we've been saying this all night. That was 105 off the bat. We've had consistent 104, 105. The Bellinger base hit was 112, to your point, John. And we're going to have a pinch hitter here. Kike Hernandez announced to bat for Jock Peterson, and San Diego will counter with their 6th pitching change of the game. It'll be Austin Adams with 2 on and 2 out in the 6th, and we'll be right back.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Smart. Yeah, okay.
If you're in a horror movie, you make poor decisions. That's what you do.
Shh, I'm being quiet. Breathing on me.
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico. It's what you do.
Oh, yeah. It's footlong season. Time to get that Subway contact-free. Order with a tap, pick up in a snap, or get contact-free delivery. Either way, it's touchdown tasty, baby. Could I get one of those little jets? Subway, eat fresh.
Ready or not, here I come.
Gillette ProGlide and ProGlide Gel. 5 blades and a pivoting flex ball designed to get virtually every hair on the first stroke while washing away dirt and oil. So you're ready for the day with a clean shave and a clean face.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. I'm gonna find you and keep you happy.
We could tell you all about Mother's Back to Black aerosol, but we'd rather show you. It's the effortless way to deep, rich blacks. Mother's Back to Black, now in aerosol.
You know what beats next day shipping? Getting it the same day. So shop Ace online and get free in-store or curbside pickup right in your neighborhood. Or get what you need delivered the very same day you order.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Introducing Wendy's new Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. Nothing will distract you from the pretzel bun and beer cheese. Not even all the comments on the pic you posted of your Pretzel Bacon Pub Cheeseburger. Download the app to order ahead and get Wendy's rewards.
2 on, 2 out. Jace Tingler trying to keep this as close, if you can say that, as a 6-run deficit. And he has selected right-hander Austin Adams to look for the final out of the inning. Adams pitched Tuesday night in the opener of this series. Faced 3 batters, got an out, walked 1 and hit 1. Worked twice against the Cardinals in the wild card round, earned the win in game 3.
Slings it.
No, ball's inside.
Looking to strand Smith at third, Bellinger at second with 2 gone, and it's a ball and no strikes to the pinch hitter Kike Hernandez, who's looking for his first postseason hit this year.
You're going to see sliders and sliders and sliders 84% of the time out of Austin.
One that misses to make it 2-0. Kike Hernandez great this year with runners in scoring position, hit .344 in spots like this. And a guy who has stepped up big for the Dodgers in previous postseasons. 2-0 pitch is hit in the air. Dave Kingman style pop up as Machado parks under it to retire the side. 2 left stranded. Still an 8-2 LA lead. Game 3 going the Dodgers' way as we hit the bottom of the 6th inning. Still time for San Diego trying to stave off elimination. Down 2-0 in this best-of-5 series. Julio Urias has in fact given Los Angeles the bulk that we speculated on earlier tonight.
Yeah, normally when a guy's going good, you got to say something like make him pitch out of the stretch. Well, he pitches out of the stretch all the time. So the bottom line is you got to get somebody on base. Creates a different avenue than what he's been able to look at. He's looking at just facing the hitter, and nobody's been on base because he's done a great job since coming in the game. And he came in the game with the bases loaded. So it wasn't like he inherited an easy situation. He's been lights out for the Dodgers.
No, it's outside.
2 balls and a strike to Manny Machado leading off the 6th. It's the heart of the San Diego order here. Machado, Hosmer, and Pham. Manny's 0 for 2 tonight. Three balls and a strike. Yeah, Urias in retiring all 10 he's faced. He struck out 4. Only been a handful of balls hit out of the infield.
He's been on the attack. It's made it very uncomfortable. It's the first time he's really been behind.
3-2.
Full count to Machado. Dustin May went 1 inning. And then the lefties out of the bullpen with Urias doing the big lifting.
You know, so far for me, the irony of this postseason is going to be, you know, eventually down to 2 teams. But early exits this year were 2 of the best pitching staffs, starting staffs, gone. Cleveland Indians, Cincinnati Reds. You can make that argument. And so what's been left is kind of a makeshift a little bit with half the teams that have tried to get by without their stars, and some have done okay and some have really struggled.
That's into left center field and the leadoff base hit in San Diego 6th. Manny takes a wide turn. They're happy with a leadoff single. Well, now's the time for Jace Tingler's guys to get back in this game. Leadoff base hit.
They got to get something to at least have a good feeling moving into the next couple innings when you know that the Dodgers can throw some more serious arms at you. Make it tough. Pass the baton on, make it tough.
Pedro Baez standing. Joe Kelly stretching. And here's Eric Hosmer, who has singled and scored tonight. Hosmer lines into the opposite field. Boy, that ball was smoked, and it's off Pollock's glove. Machado to third. Hosmer to second. And the first bit of life from the San Diego lineup since the 2nd inning.
It's rare you're going to see a ball explode off the bat like that and Pollock not make the play. 108 off the bat, but that ball got to him in a hurry. And as he got there, he kind of overran it and then just couldn't stop and jump and make the catch because it was hit so hard. Nice little meeting at the mound here with the first bit of action for Urias. He hadn't seen anybody, like I said, on the base paths, and now he's got 2 of them.
And now the Padres have a guy who has been among their more consistent hitters in this postseason. Tommy Pham has a single tonight. He's 3 for 6 in this series and 9 for 22 in the postseason. Oh, 0-1 to Pham.
It's funny how baseball goes with the, like, if you give up a 3-run homer here, it's almost like a rally kill, right? Oh, he called a balk. So there's
wow. A gift for San Diego. The balk brings Machado in to score. Hosmer to third. And it's an 8-3 ball game.
My point being, Matty, is when you're down by a lot, you just want more base hits. You want more runners on, because then the homer clears the base and you're like, oh, shoot, we got 3, but now we got to start another rally. You always want to keep the line moving. Create as much stress on the bases as you can. He just, right there is when he went to go, that little movement downward.
I mean, is that postseason yips? This is the second straight game the Dodgers have had a pitcher balk. Brusdar Graterol balked yesterday.
Yeah, he just didn't, I mean, borderline didn't come to a stop. Angel behind the plate wasn't going to miss that.
Got it. Ball and 2 strikes to count to Tommy Pham. Big postseason numbers with the Rays and Padres the last couple of years.
Down.
In his first season in San Diego, had a hand injury this year. And Tommy is also very wary. You can see him squinting here. He's got a degenerative eye condition that he has to really be mindful of. This guy is so easy to root for. A real grinder.
That's off the bat, Tommy.
And a swing and a miss. Foul tipped and hung onto by Smith. Pham strikes out, and there's 1 away.
Really good pitch there. Climbing the ladder with 2 strikes.
That's off the bat, Tommy. Caught it.
Yep. Pham knew it. Bill Miller providing the explanation. 1 away. And now it's Profar, and Jace Tingler wants to come out for a conversation. Jace, of course, had a moment in game 1 of this series where he was ejected from the proceedings. Does he just want clarification on the foul tip strikeout? Is that what this is?
I don't know what it could be. Certain he's not trying to ask if that hit the glove, like the bat hit the glove, but
we play on. A run in, runner at third with 1 gone now for Jurickson Profar. Nothing to 1. Profar pinch hit for Mitch Moreland, who had only 1 plate appearance in the game before Jace Tingler decided for a matchup advantage. And in Profar, you have that in perpetuity. Switch hitter in from the right side. Popped him up. Muncy has it 2 away.
Well, you see the exit velocity StatCast powered by Google Cloud, 107 point, 95%. That ball's going to get caught, but luckily for Padres, the 5% took it into account.
5%, so you're saying there's a chance. 2 gone now for Will Myers, who's been intentionally walked and flied out. That's into center field. Bellinger has it. San Diego had second and third with nobody out, and they settle with but a run. 1 more, however, to try to come back. It's now a 5-run game through 6. Technology of Major League Baseball. Right-hander Emilio Pagan is the 8th Padre to pitch in this ball game. He'll get the top of the 7th inning. Chris Taylor then the top of the order. First pitch action as Taylor sends a fly ball to Grisham.
Fastballs and cutters out of Pagan.
Emilio with some previous postseason experience with the Rays, most recently last year. He finished off the 5-1 wild card win in Oakland last season. He was unscored upon in the division series against the Astros last year as well. Here's Mookie Betts now. He's been a problem tonight, as per usual. A double, an RBI, 2 runs scored.
StatCast, powered by Google Cloud, is going to show you all you need to know about his home runs. And that's a slew of them. 16 home runs. And it doesn't matter really what pitch it is. If it's in the wrong spot, he's going to do damage.
Oh, and 2 the count to Mookie Betts.
Okay, I'm going to throw a question at you.
Yeah.
With the surge in Padres coming on, right, and the future looks bright. The Dodgers have won 8 divisions in a row. What do you think that number gets to? Does it end? Does somebody knock them off next year? What do you think the number gets to before either the Padres or somebody can knock off the basic division champs for the last 8 years?
It's a good question. I'll give you a hedgy answer.
Okay.
After the 0-2 to
That's
Betts,
outside.
I think that the division is more competitive now than it's been during any point in LA's 8 consecutive championship run.
Yeah.
And that's giving credit to very good vintages of the Diamondbacks and the Giants and the Rockies over that 8-year period. But you got to believe that those teams are going to be better next year, and we know that San Diego's already really good. Betts is called down on strikes. And, JP, the Padres look like they have the foundation to have a window to win that will go well beyond just this year.
Well, you're right, Matt. Take a look around the field right now. Not a single player in the game for the Padres at the moment will be a free agent this winter. And we always talk about teams being built up the middle. Grisham in center, Tatis at short, Cronenworth at second, Nola behind the plate. All of them right now making somewhere close to the league minimum.
Yeah, all the money is tied up in 3 guys. Here's Corey Seager now. And Seager rolls it out to first. Hosmer will do it himself, and it turns into a quick inning for Pagan.
So next inning, you'll give me a number, right?
I'm going to pretend like we forgot about that during And the Dodgers are edging closer to keeping their postseason record perfect this year and qualifying for their 4th NLCS in the last 5 seasons. Jake Cronenworth leads things off in the San Diego half of inning number 7. Padres have 9 outs left to try to catch up tonight. Cronenworth followed by Nola and Grisham. Julio Urias continues. Finally bent in terms of allowing a couple of hits and a run in the 6th. Retired the first 10 he faced.
0-2.
I'm going to go get that in the commercial inning.
What's that?
I'm going to get that foul ball. Nobody else.
Is it up here?
It's close. It's one level down.
Oh, and 2 to Cronenworth. And a swing and a miss. 5 strikeouts for Urias.
He has been outstanding. I mean, it's going to go a little unnoticed, but because of the final score that might end up showing when he entered the game, he was trailing by 1 with the bases loaded. As we said again, he has been outstanding.
I mean, he's been historically good against San Diego. Put him on that list that we talked about earlier of Dodgers to have become real foils to the Padres.
I have absolutely, since I've been doing this, I mean, there's the organization's going to know their player a lot better, but from the outside looking in, there have been guys that I literally would love to have their arm. Like I ever since his debut, was it in
that's 1-1.
Citi Field, maybe? I think we did it. Anyways, this arm and the ball that comes out of it, nobody knew that he was going to have the injury problems that he did later.
Yeah, serious problems.
Yes, but they just, that's what they look like. Now, if he can continue to improve and take in the information that the Dodgers are giving him, I'm telling you.
A shot out to right that'll hang up for Betts, and there are 2 away. Well, he is a big part of the reason why Hyun-Jin Ryu is allowed to bolt via free agency. Right? They felt like he's healthy, he's fully recovered from the shoulder. As we talked about earlier, the governor off, no more limitations on his workload, and he's really stepped up.
Think about the starters that the Dodgers have basically let go, either trade or not re-signed over the last year. That's the depth they had, and they still have enough to complete the deal, right? I mean, Kenta Maeda.
Inside.
Yeah, Maeda in a trade. Ryu goes via free agency, and David Price opts out. I mean, we've forgotten all about a guy who's won a Cy Young Award and a World Series ring. On how many other staffs, JP, would we have kind of lost track of the fact that David Price isn't available?
Well, that's a great point, Matt. And David Price is still under contract for 2 more years, $32 million a year, of course, half of which will be paid by the Red Sox. But now you add David Price for 2021 to an improving Tony Gonsolin, who, as you pointed out, we haven't even seen yet in this series. His ERA was under 3 for the season. This team just brings in pitchers, develops them. You got to credit Will Rhymes, their player development director, does a great job. This is an outstanding organization, top to bottom.
2 balls and a strike. The count to Trent Grisham. Yeah, I mean, David Price has walked the walk. He's accomplished just about everything a guy could dream of in this game. From his days as a first overall pick, splashy postseason debut out of the bullpen for the Rays, Cy Young, World Series, as we talked about, and plenty of years left on that big deal to shine in L.A.
They also had Stripling.
That's right. 3 balls and a strike to Trent Grisham.
So I'll answer it for you. I think the Dodgers, with the future being unknown, but the progression of the San Diego Padres and their young pitchers, 9. 1 more year. Doesn't mean they won't be in the playoffs in the 10th year. Doesn't mean they can't win it. I'm just playing a little bit of.
No, ball's up.
Ball 4 to Grisham. Well, I mean, look, they are the Vanguard brand. They will be the favorites next year. Even if San Diego comes back and wins this game and then wins the next 2 and claims the series, the Dodgers would open as favorites next year in the division.
You got Chris Paddock, Kenzie Gore.
Look at that number. 6 strikeouts is a Dodger relief postseason record. I mean, this was a workload akin to a start, and it's finally come to a close for Urias. Yeoman's duty. He did the heavy lift from a pitching standpoint tonight and leaves the Dodgers in pretty good shape. A pitching change, and we'll be right back.
On the court, you celebrate it. You love his passion and his intensity.
Final shot. It's good.
But what if you take away the court and the uniform? Is he still your hero? Do you care for him as a player and as a man?
Dove Men Plus Care and the National Basketball Players Association are partnering to change the way the world sees and treats black men. Join us at CommitToCareNow.com.
When it comes to buying a home, they say cash is king. But you're a queen, and that's just as powerful. You're armed with a verified approval from Rocket Mortgage. Sellers know your offer is good, so your bid has the strength to compete with cash offers. Now grab your crown and rule. That castle is yours. So when you need an edge in the bidding war, Rocket can.
For $5, you could upgrade to the sparkly sprinkle pack on Cupcake Conquest. Or you could upgrade to all this. 2 crunchy tacos and a medium drink. Plus, the beefy cheesy layers of the $5 Grande Stacker Box. Only at Taco Bell.
Is it too early to start celebrating Halloween?
Well, if you're celebrating by eating Reese's, then no. You're actually late. Not sorry, Reese's.
Hey, Jake from State Farm, man. Thanks again for the Rogers rate on my insurance.
Here's the deal. There's no Rogers rate. State Farm just has surprisingly great rates.
Look, I know you don't offer it to just anyone, okay?
We do offer it to anyone. Literally anyone.
Our little secret.
Oh. Yeah. Oops. I can help with that. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It'll be Blake Trinan looking for the final out in the 7th inning. A bounce-back year for Trinan. And he has alternated dominating years and redo years over the past 3. It'll be Fernando Tatis with a man on and 2 away. Tatis takes a strike. Fernando's been quiet tonight, 0 for 2 with a walk, but his career postseason numbers are everything that you would expect. How about his career numbers, period, including the postseason? A .302 hitter in a year and a half. He led baseball in hard contact this year. There's a hard shot that gets past Turner on into left field. Grisham takes the turn. He's into third base. Tatis on his way to second.
I'm going to guess 104 off the bat.
I'll take the over on that.
Oh, wait, is that what it says?
Yeah. There has not been any soft contact on either side tonight. Everything's been a smash.
Yeah, that ball ate up. Turner, it's a hot corner. He tries to shift and get this missile and just watch it ride up the glove.
Here's Machado now. Odds down by 5 and running out of time. 2nd and 3rd with 2 away. Machado has singled and scored today. Homered yesterday.
For whatever reason, the Padres from the 7th inning on kick it in gear. Ton of home runs. Comeback victories.
Down.
You know, I asked their manager today, and I know there's no magic wand, but can you explain how they lock in, how your team locks in the late innings, 8th, 9th inning, and can that carry over into a game in the 1st, 2nd, 3rd inning? He said he wished he had the answer to that. He feels like if he had the answer to that, they score a lot more runs early, but he's really happy with the approach of his team, and he's hoping for one more comeback, starting right here.
Well, all this starting with 2 out. The walk to Grisham, the double by Tatis. Now a 3-0 count to Machado, who I would imagine is going to take another pitch here.
I don't know.
Really? Okay.
Let's say green light. Middle in. It was away.
3-1.
If you're going to hit 3-0, you're looking at one spot only. That ain't it. You don't want to hit that pitch.
Full count now. San Diego had 1st and 2nd with nobody out last inning and settled with a run. They were retired in order in innings 3 through 5. So making a little noise late, to your point, something that's happened a lot this year for the Padres. Count is full to Manny Machado. 2 on, 2 out. Machado lines it right to Corey Seager to end the threat. Blake Trinan able to hang a 0 despite a couple of base runners. We've played 7 complete in this elimination. To retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Some of the all-time greats in this long-standing rivalry between NL West foes. Drew Pomerantz is the 9th Padre to pitch tonight and the 24th pitcher to work in the series. 24 moves, that is, if you count them all up for the 3 games. 9 in game 1, 5 yesterday, and 9 so far tonight.
Hey! 23 then.
23.
Told you I was good in math.
Much better than I am. Ball and 2 strikes to Justin Turner, who has an RBI single tonight. Pomerantz signed to a 4-year free agent deal to come back to San Diego. Side of some of his best work. He was an all-star with the Pods in 2016 before being traded to Boston. Drew has worn a number of different costumes in his long major league career.
No. He has that spin rate they're looking for, right? That certain 4-seam spec backspin that just seems to explode on the hitter. The opponents don't pick up his 4-seamer or hit it with much average. And then he's got that knuckle curveball.
No. And there's ball 4 to Turner. The decorated Dodgers, 8 consecutive division titles, a run that's included 2 rookies of the year. They seem to come in bunches for this franchise. Historically, Clayton Kershaw wins back-to-back Cy Young Awards in 13 and 14. MVPs Kershaw and Bellinger. The 8 division titles. Yet that big shelf in the middle still looking for something to put on it. Leadoff hitters aboard from Max Muncy. Muncy's 0 for 3 so far tonight. Walked and scored in the second. You know, the fact that the Dodgers have been so good without the World Series title is certainly not lost on the players, even those that have only been here for a short time. But for others like Corey Seager, who have been here for a while, JP, they have even commented about that.
Well, Corey talked about that earlier today, Matt. There is that sense of they want to win one, yes, for themselves, but certainly for Clayton Kershaw, drafted by this team in 2006. For Justin Turner, who's a free agent after the season, of course, grew up a Dodger fan in Southern California. And then Kenley Jansen, who signed with this organization, Matt, 16 years ago. Yes, 16 years ago in the fall of 2004 as a catcher from Curacao. A lot of games played, and now the longest streak of division titles in MLB history that has not also included at least one World Series championship.
3 balls and a strike, and the Padres reshuffle the shift. 3 infielders around the middle of the field, and there's ball 4, so back-to-back walks. You know, the Jansen story is interesting too, and you touch on it there, JP, and if there is anything to wring your hands over, it's what the back of the bullpen equation would look like after Kenley Jansen struggled yesterday. They are unfailingly loyal to Kenley for reasons that JP just documented. A lot of years in the organization, a lot of skin in the game. He's regarded as one of the game's great gentlemen and hard workers. His contributions have been invaluable. But as Dave Roberts said, in mid-September, at some point it becomes about performance.
Yeah.
Well, it does, Matt. And the Dodgers have moved away. I think certainly part of it is Kenley's performance of late, but also organizationally, they don't think in terms of innings, and this is your 9th inning and you're the 8th inning guy. They're much more matchup oriented. And you could tell that they did not like, coming into this series, the notion of Jansen facing Tatis and Machado. He has not faced them at all in this series. And you saw it just in the last half inning. When their turn came up, they brought in Trinan. I think we're going to see more and more of the Dodgers mixing and matching. You might see, depending on how long they play in this postseason, 2, 3, 4 different relievers record saves for the Dodgers this month.
And I'll say this, And just echoing, Dave Roberts talking about how incredibly professional and responsible that Kenley has been. Whatever it takes, this is a proud guy. You've had the role forever. Whatever it takes to help us win. It's not one of those scenarios where, he's given his manager the freedom to say, I understand whatever you need me to do. And that's a big part.
Yep. 1-0 pitch to Will Smith is fouled away. Back-to-back walks have opened the LA eighth. Drew Pomeranz, as we mentioned, the 9th Padre to pitch in this game. It's pretty obvious that San Diego can ill afford a greater deficit than the one they already face. One to Will Smith.
And it is hard to believe when you think about all those pitchers that have pitched. I don't think that Mr. Rosenthal has gotten in the game.
You're correct, yeah.
So
and there's another one up. Garrett Richards is throwing.
Part of the conditions in this year, and certainly the rule changes and the roster changes, allows for the teams to have and carry extra pitchers. Of course, 28-man rosters, and that puts teams in a position to carry more pitchers than they typically and normally would.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, Richards is warming up to come in the game. It's not a side session by any stretch. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Will Smith, who's already had a big day with 3 hits and an RBI. Jam shot foul. 8 runs on 11 hits for Los Angeles tonight. 3-5-2 for San Diego. Earlier today in division series play, Houston closed out Oakland. The Yankees stave off elimination with a win against Tampa Bay in San Diego. And over in the National League, the Atlanta Braves finished off the Miami Marlins by taking that one 3-0. Into center field, a 4th hit for Will Smith tonight. Turner held at third, and the bases are loaded with nobody out. Hey, a reminder before and after every postseason game, tune in to MLB Tonight, presented by Evan Williams Bourbon. Highlights and breakdowns from baseball's best analysts. Nobody brings you the postseason like MLB Tonight, coming up right after the game on MLB Network. Greg Amsinger, Dan Plesac, and Harold Reynolds are standing by. Did Harold text you any stats tonight?
No.
Infield in for Cody Bellinger. Bellinger's been on base in 3 of his 4 plate appearances. You know, we kind of said half jokingly when LA batted around in the 3rd that it's one of those nights where it looks like the Dodgers are each going to get 6 plate appearances. It's pretty close to that.
Yeah, they've done a really good job against a lot of pitchers. You know, the only downside, obviously, for, let's just say the Dodgers go on to win this game and they win it in 3, the Braves win it in 3. You're kind of happy for the days off, but then your offense that's clicking has got 4 days off to wanting to play the next day, right? Yeah. Baseball's played every day for the most part in the regular season. When you're clicking, you got to feel good to get to the plate.
Well, and for teams that have already been in the quote-unquote bubble, hoteled up, it's a lot of time, a lot of idle time between the start of, or the end of this and the start of the LCS. Game 1 of the National League Championship Series scheduled for Monday. ALCS scheduled to begin on Sunday the 11th. Hey, look out. In a closer scoreboard, maybe Turner makes a break for it. But he thinks better of trying to bolt for home in a 5-run game with the bases loaded and nobody out. Hit the bull, win a stake. Ball and 2 strikes to Bellinger. Got him.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud is going to show us the feet that home run would have went, the distance that he covered. Just a great athletic play. You know, they're not playing in their home parks, and if they were in their home parks, this would not even be a possibility.
Wow. We're going to have a pitching change.
What?
Yes. The 10th pitcher of the game on his way in for San Diego. Veteran right-hander Garrett Richards, and we'll be right back. Well, Garrett Richards, who had a real bounce-back season this year, made his postseason debut in the wild card round with back-to-back scoreless outings in games 1 and 2 against the Cardinals, but was saddled with the loss in game 1 here on Tuesday night against the Dodgers when he gave up a couple of earned runs in 2/3 of an inning. Tough spot for him here for sure. Bases loaded, 1 away, a 5-run deficit, and a red-hot A.J. Pollock at the plate.
Garrett Richards can be really funky and really nasty. Throws across his body, elbows, knees.
Ten pitchers used tonight by the Padres.
They both foul.
Is a postseason record. Starter went 2+. Adrian Morejon making his postseason debut, rookie left-hander. And it has been just about everybody else since. Bases loaded, 1 away. You got the bigger roster, so there are more options. Talked about Rosenthal not only not pitching tonight, but not pitching in the series. Ryan Weathers hasn't pitched tonight. Pierce Johnson. And I think that's it. Everybody else has been used. Ball and 2 strikes to Pollock. Ooh. And again, Turner thinking better of trying to bolt for the plate given the sizable lead here. 2-2.
There was a little agility of this former shortstop, now catcher. Somehow getting that ball to not get to the backstop.
Yeah, scratch him off then. Just about everybody. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Pollock. Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts by 2 different relievers with the bases loaded. So the postseason schedule for Friday night, we get a Game 5, a decisive Game 5 in San Diego between the Yankees and Rays. And if needed, Game 4 of this series at 9:08 Eastern Time on FS1. Yankees and Rays on TBS, as that entire series has been. Brian Anderson, Ron Darling, and Lauren Shahadi. And we get Garrett Cole tomorrow, which we guessed. And Tyler Glasnow coming back on 2 days rest for the Rays tomorrow night, John.
Yeah, that was interesting decision there. You got to factor that. You got to think he's only going to give you two or three. I mean, that's the same as, hey, that would be my bullpen day.
You get more of this.
Yeah, the Rays will use every weapon they have, and they have a lot of them.
0-1 the count to Kike Hernandez. That's a pretty interesting matchup on a lot of levels. Both coming back on short rest, and both of those guys were in the same draft class by the Pirates. And now Richards and Nola want to get on the same page. How about that note? Last postseason Grand Slam belongs to this man. Game 5 of the 2017 NLCS.
In Chicago, right?
In Chicago. Co-MVP.
That's outside.
What have you figured out why there's no MVP in the division series?
Yeah, I just think, I don't know if they've ever given one out.
Why wouldn't
in a
they,
5-game series?
Is it too few games? Is that your?
Maybe.
I think they should have an MVP for the wild card series if that sticks around. Best of 3. Why not? If that were to be the case in this series, and there is no MVP for a division series, you've watched all 3 games so far, and assuming that LA hangs on, who do you give it to?
Well, I mean, that's a tough call. You can give it to a few people. I mean, Bellinger comes to mind just because that very easily could have changed the series.
Yep. Betts has had a big series. 7 hits to lead the way.
I think that's probably where you go with the 7 hits, but
still a ball and 2 strikes to A.J. Pollock. Everybody contributing tonight. 8 runs on 12 hits. And a swing and a miss. Bases loaded, nobody out, and the Dodgers are turned away. San Diego running out of chances on this night, however, as they're down to 6 outs left in their 2020 season. You're watching the Deuce on NLDS on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Network. Dr. Dero is in.
Dr. Dero.
Still 8-3 Los Angeles, as the Padres are running out of opportunities tonight.
They are, but the Padres have been an exciting team late. I know it's really late. It's the bottom of the 8th. They've got 2 innings to try and get at least some kind of hope going in the 9th, because last night's 9th gave a lot of the fans on the edge of their seats an opportunity. Again, this series might not go, it might go down 3-0, but I'm telling you that the Padres played the Dodgers the first 2 games and a half to this point tight and gave them everything they needed. They were just a click away from the series changing. Now, even if the series goes 4-5, the Padres are in a tough situation with their pitching staff. You know, they didn't get a chance to get Chris Paddock in the game. He would have been the game 4 starter if there is a game 4, but boy, I like their chances next year.
Pitch from Baez to Hosmer is chopped in the infield. So some changes to set for you here in the last of the 8th. First and foremost, it is Pedro Baez taking over on the mound. Kike Hernandez at second base, and that moves Chris Taylor out to left.
Because I got to say this, Matt. I mean, even though Chris Paddock may not have had the year everyone expected, it's a strange year. So you throw it out and you let him learn on the job. You let him become the pitcher he's going to be based on the expectation and the promise that he shows. And then you start adding a piece, or you get a healthy Lament and you get a healthy Clevenger. And the next thing you look down the road, you're like, okay, who wants to tassel with that starting lineup, that starting rotation? And you couple it with that kind of exuberant offense that they can put in. It's built more. This season, I felt this season why they were such a sexy pick when it started out was it was a short enough season to give the pitching enough time. It was like short enough for them to compete. And then they went out and made the move and got Clevenger, and all of a sudden you started seeing a team that was not just there to kind of show up. It was a team that could make a long run.
Mike, we see 11 pitchers. Trevor Rosenthal's up. Counts the ball and a strike to Tommy Pham.
No,
well, I mean, let's face it, the sexy picks coming into a new season are always those that shake up the roster the most. The White Sox as such,
the Reds,
and the Padres. And two of those three teams, they all qualified for the postseason. Pods had the longest run. And again, for San Diego, down to their final 5 outs tonight, should they fail to come back. There is no way that this season should be considered anything other than an overwhelming success.
Absolutely.
A franchise who last got even close enough to sniff the postseason in 2010, when on an overcast afternoon at AT&T Park, Matt Latos lost to the Giants on the final day of the season, when San Diego had at one point a commanding division lead.
But people forget, before we made our run, we were terrible. We lost 100 games almost 3 years in a row. And when you look at what the Padres been able to do, you know, after their sluggish start, they got it rolling. And so my point is, when you let these young pitchers mature and learn on the job, all of a sudden the next thing you know, you're running off 8 years in a row of being in the postseason and having established a young starting staff that can hopefully stay healthy. And that's how it turned around for the Atlanta Braves. I mean, it's no secret that we established a core of pitchers in the rotation and kept them.
Two gone, and the Padres will go with another pinch hitter here. Batting for Profar, the rookie catcher Luis Camposano.
Do you think that visit was over?
Refresher course on Luis Camposano, who played one game this year in a 5-run game. I don't know what the mound visit was about. Are you talking about the mound visit?
Yeah,
or
the mound visit. I'm thinking it's either something that Mark Pryor saw that he wanted him to quickly correct or go to.
Yeah, 2 gone, bases empty, 5-run game, rookie pinch hitter. I don't know. It's more about Baez than a matchup, to your point. Yeah. Thought you might have been talking about Jace Tingler's visit there with Tommy Pham, which it looked like, just a pat on the back. Tommy is such a grinder. He takes every at-bat, every failure so seriously. And the Padres go away in order in the 8th. Los Angeles inching ever closer toward their 4th NLCS in the last 5 years. Greg Allen takes over for Tommy Pham in left. And I don't think any Padre fan envisioned Trevor Rosenthal's first appearance in the series coming on the bad end of an 8-3 score in the 9th as the 11th pitcher used by the Padres.
Yeah, they brought him over and he's been good for him. And throws hard. Good change up, over the top fastball, reaches 98.
So not only have the Padres set a postseason record with 11 pitchers working in this game, they have set a postseason record for players used. 24 players in the 3-game series. Fly ball out to center for Grisham.
You know, this park being the way it is, I could see if Grisham played here, he would lock center field down. He is a smooth operator in center field, as is Bellinger. They cover a ton of ground. But if you're a center fielder here, it's a dream. Showcase.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. One away for Betts. He's double driven in a run and scored a pair. The Braves lie in wait, having swept the Marlins in their division series with a lopsided victory today in Houston. And JP, I guess as we look forward to a potential Los Angeles-Atlanta postseason meeting this year, there is a bit of postseason history there.
There is actually 3 meetings in the division series in the past between the Dodgers and the Braves. 2018, 2013, 1996. A bit more on that one in a moment. But actually the only time, according to the great baseball writer John Lowe, that the Dodgers and Braves actually played for the pennant was back in 1959 as part of a 3-game playoff series back before the playoffs actually existed in advance of the World Series. That was between the Milwaukee Braves and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Of course, the Dodgers won that series, went on to win the World Series that year. But back in 1996, that division series, that game played at Dodger Stadium. The Braves starting pitcher that day, Mr. Smoltz himself, and the first hitter you faced, John, in that game, Wayne Kirby, now the Padres first base coach. How about that?
Did not remember that. I just remember going 9 and scared to death in a 1-1 game with Ramon Martinez, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
We won it in extra innings 2-1. But I would not have remembered facing Wayne Kirby to lead off.
JP's always got a little nugget that he keeps in the back of the desk drawer. A little kicker at the end of the report.
And I am ready, Matt. Whenever we want to talk about World Baseball Classic brackets to come, my friend, I'm ready on that one too.
Anyway, ball and no strikes for Corey Seager. There's Wayne. There's kind of a Buck Showalter coaching parallel on this Padres staff. Fly ball in the infield for Tatis. And 2 gone. Guys like Wayne Kirby. Bobby Dickerson, longtime associate of Buck. Ryan Flaherty, who played for Buck in Baltimore for a number of years. Justin Turner now with 2 gone.
How many jersey tops do you think he goes through in a year?
Oh, hit him. Wow. Came in and got him. And Trevor Rosenthal throws hard. That was a 99-mile-an-hour fastball that came in and clipped Justin Turner.
Pine tar on the back of his jersey.
You know how we come for nothing, I got.
Like if you're getting an authentic jersey from him and it doesn't have something like that on the back of it, I have to question that a little bit. Just shout it out.
Take a look at where this hit him again.
That's a triple
bicep.
That got everybody. You see that? Hitter, catcher, umpire.
Yeah. Pinball. Shane Victorino holds a record that he would prefer he not hold. And Justin Turner creeping up on him. Justin, a free agent at season's end, and a guy that many Dodger fans consider the kind of heartbeat of the team. There are flashier players for sure. Bellinger, Betts, we could go on and on.
Both inside.
But he's had a lot of effect on some of the hitters in the lineup, just philosophically, right? Whether it's Bellinger or Muncy or just the lineup itself. You always got to have that one guy that talks to the other guys to translate, you know, the information or the process and try to buy into this, buy into that. He certainly could be that guy.
And there's ball 4 to Muncy. He's on base with his 3rd walk of the game. Every good team has that one hitter that seems to connect the lineup. Whether it's Altuve in Houston, LeMahieu in New York. You got to have one guy that doesn't buy into launch revolution and can hit for average, and Turner's been that guy. One of the most charitable guys on the Dodgers team, very active in the community and in his free time. Fishing, golf, Dolphins fan.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. And a big hit on Instagram.
Moonshine. It's his dog.
So back to Will Smith, who has enjoyed a real big night. 4 for 5, a double, an RBI, and this after going 0 for his first 11 this postseason.
No.
And Dave Roberts was right on the money in his pregame comments today. Promised you'd see Julio Urias, a lot of Julio Urias, and we did, and he was spectacular. And he also had a feeling that Will Smith was close to snapping out of it, and he really did.
He sure did. Started with that double down the line at third base. And then all he did was just keep checking the box.
No Dodger has ever had a 5-hit postseason game. Smith with an opportunity. Ball and 2 strikes. San Diego will have the bottom of the order in the bottom of the 9th inning. Rosenthal hoping to take them there down by 5. Sounds odd to say. Hoping to trail by 5. But a big hit from Will Smith here could just be a backbreaker. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bases loaded with 2 gone. Smith into the opposite field, and he has set a Dodger postseason record. A 2-run double and a 5-hit game for Will Smith tonight.
That's impossible for him to get his average where he got it from where he started today, right?
0 for 0.00.
Yeah.
The Blatarski number and a 5-hit game, man. (10-3) Los Angeles. LA really flexing their muscle tonight. And what was a difficult comeback to envision for San Diego has become all the more troubling.
Just a great piece of hitting. Stayed inside the ball. He has his hands up high and then gets them down and ready in a hitting position. Seeing it. He was seeing it before that 0 for 11 because he was had a lot of hard hit outs. Well, evened out today.
0-2 the count to Cody Bellinger. Man, there have just been a lot of long innings on this side of the scorecard. A 9 at-bat third. A 6 at-bat fourth. This has been a 7 plate appearance ninth.
I'm trusting you because I stopped in the 5th.
I noticed that.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I had a streak going.
That's all right.
I stopped.
You don't have to be a bookkeeper. Leave that to the nerds like me. And that's a fair ball. 2 more will come in to score. Bellinger on his way around second. Into third with a 2-run triple.
Other runners in scoring position average just went way up for the postseason tonight. And a lot of them with 2 outs. It's the one thing about this ballpark. If you hit the ball and you hit that little cutout, you can really create some. This is triple. This is a park where you can, if you got some speed, you can create some triples.
And it has turned into a rout. 12-3 Los Angeles. A.J. Pollock, the 8th Dodger to come to the plate this inning. Check that. It's Gavin Lux who is pinch hitting here for Pollock. And it's 0-2 to the former first rounder. Well, for Dave Roberts, a chance to get everybody involved in a lopsided score. Lux was not included on the wild card roster in the best-of-3 victory over Milwaukee.
Rios injury allowed him to be on this roster.
Actually hit a homer in last year's NLDS loss against the Nationals. Technically his second season.
No balls up.
Guy that still factors in the plans prominently. I know the Dodgers have taken a lot of calls on him the last year or so too. Swing and a miss by Lux. However, more Dodger damage. A 4-run top of the 9th. All LA in Arlington tonight. Guys Vince Scully used to affectionately refer to as the boys in blue. 3 outs away from another date in the NLCS. Dylan Floro will look to put the finishing touches on Game 3 and cap off the sweep.
Down.
Bottom third of the order for San Diego. Myers, Cronenworth, and Nola. 12 runs on 14 hits for Los Angeles tonight. And they have scored 12 runs without the benefit of a homer. And the Padres are down to their final 2 outs.
Yeah, it's been a clinic offensively. Other than the first game where the Padres held the Dodgers down, from that point on, they've been clicking their heels and warming up, as they would say, because coming into that first game, even in the first 2 games against the Milwaukee Brewers, they didn't do much hitting. And they didn't do much hitting in Game 1. Well, that's over. They put on their hitting shoes.
Jake Cronenworth hitless tonight. Well, for Dave Roberts, on the verge of a 5-0 beginning to this postseason. This would improve his career postseason record to 30-22. He's done nothing but manage in the postseason in all 5 of his years in the Dodger dugout. And the irony is that Dave Roberts occupied a place on the San Diego Padres coaching staff. He played there. He played for both the Padres and Dodgers, but his most recent stop before becoming LA's manager was as a part of Buddy Black's coaching staff with the Padres. And when Buddy Black was fired in June of 2015, you got the sense around San Diego that the then administration wanted to get rid of his guys as well. It's a fly ball to the corner, and there are 2 gone in the 9th. So Dave, who still makes his home in San Diego County and has a great deal of community service in San Diego. He and his family very fond of where they live. They've been there for a long time. A lot of people thought he'd be a choice to manage the Padres. He goes to LA and he's taken another team to the postseason. Austin Nola represents the last chance for San Diego. As far as the Padres are concerned, with Jace Tingler, a first-year manager, and despite what's happened here over the last 3 days, you have to call his first run, his maiden voyage as a manager, a success. It's going to get into right field, and a base hit for Nola.
Yeah, I'd call it a success for sure. And even though it comes in a 60-game version, did a nice job holding them together, and then once they started clicking, they were second best record in the National League.
Had there been fans in the ballpark at Petco Park this year, the 2020 season would have been a lot of fun for those folks. Exciting team. The Slam Diego thing had a lot of traction, a lot of late wins, marketable stars. 0-1 to Grisham. Dodgers just ran away and hid tonight. They scored a run in the second. San Diego at one point had a 2-1 lead. But LA got 5 in the third and did nothing but add on. Still 0-2 to Grisham. Ball and 2 strikes. This will be a very different series between the Dodgers and Braves as compared to their postseason meeting a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
LA ran roughshod over what was a young Braves team then. A little more salt in the spikes this year. Fly ball into foul territory. Try it again.
Yeah, the Braves pitching had their way the first 2 series. They're going to have they're going to have a challenge in front of them with this Dodger lineup. This is unlike any lineup they faced so far. And you think about how the Braves were able to take care of their first 2 series, basically giving up no runs, right? And a great bullpen that they've assembled in the offseason, the moves they made. But the challenges they're going to have now at the Dodgers present is going to be intriguing. And the challenges that the Braves offense present for the Dodgers starters is going to be intriguing. It truly is going to be an outstanding series.
And that'll do it. And the Los Angeles Dodgers have another date in the National League Championship Series. A 12-3 Game 3 victory finishes off a 3-game sweep of San Diego. LA is moving on. The field in the National League is set. The Dodgers and the Braves vying for the right to move on to the World Series.
Go, you go.
A team that has come so close to raising the Commissioner's Trophy at various points along this dominant run of 8 straight division titles. In the eyes of many of the experts, if you will, this has been the best assemblage of talent that Andrew Friedman and Dave Roberts have had to work with during that run. And we're looking forward to a terrific NLCS, which begins in earnest right here Monday night.
That's a team with a ton of pressure coming into them. They know they have not accomplished anything, but a relief to get to this point so that they can feel the accomplishment of getting back to the World Series. And you can tell the way they played. They had confidence in every aspect of their ball club, even when the games were tight. They knew they were good enough to break it open, and this is how it ends up. And Will Smith, he got 5 hits. He caught the last ball. Why not?
After the emotion and the closeness of Game 2 last night, tonight's was never really in doubt. And Clayton Kershaw, with the family in tow, pitching and playing at home for the first time in his major league career, celebrates a 12-3 victory. 12 runs on 14 hits and an error for Los Angeles, 3 runs, 6 hits, 2 errors for San Diego. Julio Urias gets the win in the decision, and LA is moving on. No MVP in Division Series, but we're at liberty to select a player of the game. And really? It is, yeah, Will Smith.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Only 5 hits.
Oh!
A Dodger postseason record.
Outstanding game by Will Smith. Their highly touted young catcher led all catchers with on-base percentage. Well, he was struggling coming in only statistically, but not locked in at the plate, hitting balls hard. It all paid off. 5-hit game. Record books. Will Smith. And we're not. He might become one of the most popular Will Smiths in LA.
And there are a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
25 years old and the youngest ever in postseason play to collect a 5-hit game. Posing for the Division Series championship picture. The LA Dodgers are moving on. We're hoping to have a chance to visit with Will as soon as they snap the photo. Always amazes me how quickly those T-shirts arrive.
Yeah. Well, I remember the days of how much plastic was put up and had to be torn down in our locker room at times. But
yeah,
the Dodgers are going to enjoy this for the next couple days. I'm sure they'll have a day off or two. And
yeah, the celebration a bit muted because this is a team that has bigger aspirations this year. You combine that with the fact that nobody's really allowed to celebrate the way they used to during these very uncertain times. Now's the time when Brusdar Graterol should rip off his shirt and his hat, right? You can throw your hat now.
I just feel like there's going to be a T-shirt made about him.
Do we have Will with us? Will Smith is with us. Hey, Will, congratulations on the victory and the big night tonight. So just walk us through how you were feeling at the plate. To us, it looked like you thought that it was a grapefruit you were swinging at down there.
Yeah, no, it was just one of those days, you know, you get some pitches to hit. You know, I've been swinging it pretty well lately, but I don't know, nothing really to show for it. And they found some holes tonight and put together some good ABs.
Well, you're in the record books, which is a historic franchise, and I got to ask you, because I've been there on a team where all you can offer up is attaboy, hang in there, and you get tired of hearing hang in there when you barrel up balls and you're not getting results. Well, tonight you got some results. It had to feel like a relief just for the effort and the process that you were taking in every at bat.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, it felt good getting some hits, getting that first one out of the way for this postseason for me. But yeah, no, we were doing some rituals with the hitting coaches earlier today, so I guess that got me right.
Hey, you're a guy who, as soon as you arrived, Will, last year in your rookie season, you were hitting in the middle of the lineup. So it feels to us like a lot of this comes easy for you. Talk about the extra work, though, because I know that there's been a lot of it for you and the rest of your teammates this year.
Yeah, no, that's how I've always been. Just keep working, keep grinding. You get to be in the cage with Mookie, JT, and all those older guys, and you get to see how they work every day, and just the quality at bats, and that's what I try to model up those guys, because those guys, the best in the business, and that's just how I go about it. So, it's good to get some results.
Well, the Dodgers do a lot of things unique and a lot of things to prepare the players for the future. And if I have my story straight, before you got a chance to compete, you were brought up to see the process. How much did that help you so that when you got in this moment, you weren't awed by it too much?
Yeah, that was big for me, developmentally. Just kind of seeing how, every day in the big leagues works, how they prepare for a game, how intense it is. I was there in September where, they're prepping for playoffs. They're trying to make a playoff. They're trying to, I think we clinched the last couple of games, but that was huge for me, and I think that got me off to a good start last year. That's carried over to this year.
Do you want to hear the records, or are you superstitious?
Yeah, let me hear it.
Youngest player to enjoy a 5-hit game in the postseason, and also the first Dodger to enjoy a 5-hit postseason game.
That's pretty cool.
Congrats. Great night for you. Great night for the organization. Best of luck against the Braves. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Will Smith, big night tonight in a lopsided Los Angeles Dodger win. Certainly not the way that Padre fans envision this going down. Yesterday's was so close. It was so filled with emotion. And tonight's just didn't have that same kind of energy because the Dodgers just ran away.
Yeah, they say your next day's kind of emotion and or success is your next day starter, right? And San Diego just didn't have enough arms to compete with the lineup that the Dodgers had. They started off with a 2-1 lead, and you looked like they could get it going. But many props to what the San Diego Padres were able to do. No excuses, and they understood they were undermanned in their rotation, but they competed, and the Dodgers just had more depth. And sometimes as a player, you understand you're in the process with the best, but sometimes the better team, you just know that they're the better team, and you move on and you try to accomplish that in the following year.
Yeah, we saw a few postseason records in this game tonight. Not only what Will Smith accomplished, what we just went through, but San Diego used 11 pitchers, which is a postseason single-game record, and they used 24 players in the series, also a postseason series record, as we watch the Dodgers celebrate with their families, which I'm sure for a lot of players watching tonight will bring a smile to everybody's face, because players across Major League Baseball went through a process to adhere to the COVID protocols that nobody could have anticipated, that nobody complained about, but still was no easier to do.
We're on our way to the Final Four. It is going to be a spectacular Final Four, whatever it is, and I'm looking forward to the Braves and Dodgers competing in 7, if it goes 7, consecutive days.
Yep, we know what the National League will look like, and depending on what happens tomorrow in San Diego in Game 5 between the Yankees and the Rays, we'll have the rest of the field filled out as well. Coming up next, it's the MLB Tonight postgame show presented by Evan Williams Bourbon with Greg Amsinger, Dan Plesac, and Harold Reynolds. For John Smoltz, JP Morosi, and our entire terrific MLB Network crew here in Arlington, Matt Vasgersian saying goodnight, and thanks for watching this Deuce on NLDS telecast presented by Geico.